pabor-pabor galing ni Binana ang jacket.
Hindi ka nagbayad sa imong.
Magbayad sa silo.
Bangkol! Hindi gol, nagani ko gol, kaya wala may kulang gol.
Kinsa man?
Kalyaw, Pikuri.
Okay.
Pero hindi doon na. Nilay wala.
Nga, duha. Bato kain.
Nana sila.
Yeah, kuha na sa kuha. Okay. Sige. Wala akong kuha. Mayong hapon sa tanan. Good afternoon. To all the regular members of the 19th City Council, mayong hapon kaninyo. Mr. Secretary, majority floor. Okay. Mayong hapon sa tanan, the 52nd regular session sa Guniang Panglusod, Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro is now called on to order. Please do stand for the invocation by Councilor, no other than Councilor J-Boy Roa Pascual. Mayong hapon kanimo, konsihan.
Mic test. Mayang hapon, Vice. Mayang hapon, fellow councilors. Ang manguros, ni Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty and merciful Father, who show your love to all your creation, humbly we come before you asking for a swift eradication of the coronavirus. Graciously hear the prayers we offer for all those affected by the virus currently ravaging various parts of the world. Calm our fears and give strength to those who support and care for others. Grant healing to all suffering in mind, body, and spirit. Eternal life to the dead and consolation to the bereaved. Inspire those who are working to find an effective vaccine. Counsel governments and health authorities to take appropriate steps for the good of all. Look lovingly upon us all, and in your mercy, forgive our failings. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. In Father, Son,
Amen.
and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Councilor J. Roa Pascual, and for the singing of our national anthem. And for the Cagayan de Oro March, hapon sa tanan. But before we proceed, we'd like to greet belated happy birthday to Councilor Ayan Mark Kiblat Nakaya and Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez.
Nakaon na ba?
Belated naman, belated naman. So, ay hapon tanan to all the regular members of the 19th City Council and so as our invited guests this afternoon from the DPWH, from the office of our regional director and so as our director Sinaida Tan and so as Engineer Virginia Batucael of the 1st District District Office of the DPWH and so as the 2nd District Engineering Office also, Engineer Anastasio Marundan. Okay, I'm sorry. So, Engineer Gabriel Ginitaran, ay hapon. And so as our very own City Engineering Office, Engineer Rolando Pacoribot. Ay hapon sa tanan. And to all our media friends from the different media institution, mayong hapon kaninyo. And to all Cagayanons who are present this afternoon, mayong hapon kanatong tanan. Welcome to the 52nd regular session of the 19th City Council. So at this moment of time, Mr. Secretary, can you do the roll call to determine whether we have a quorum this afternoon?
Honorable City Vice Mayor Renier Joaquin Vioy, presiding
Speaking.
officer. For the 1st District Councilors, Honorable Ednem Dahino, Honorable J.R. Pascual, Honorable Roger G. Abaday, Honorable Saldi O. Ocon, Honorable George Isgoking, Honorable Ruben R. Daba, Honorable Lord Angie Swan, Honorable Romeo V. Calizo. For the 2nd District Councilors, Honorable Joylen Mercedes L. Balaba, Honorable Maria Lourdes Isgaani, Honorable Ayan Mark Yunakaya, Honorable Suset G. Magtahas Daba, Honorable Chudolfo E. Lau Jr., Honorable Enrico D. Salcedo, Honorable Jocelyn B. Rodriguez, Honorable Edgar S. Cabanlas. For the ex-officio members, Honorable Yan Lam Islim, Liga ng mga Barangay President, and Honorable John Michael El Seno, City Iski Federation President. There is quorum, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, since we do have a quorum. And then I'd like to know that for the declaration of the state of emergency, health emergency by our very own President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, we do also suspend our formal attire for our parliamentary rules of procedure in terms of our dress code. We cannot change anymore our physical stature, especially our very own face, but our dress code. So we suspend it. That is why we conducting our formal regular session so as like this. So at this moment, our very own majority floor leader, Ayan Mark Kiblat Nakaya, mayong hapon kanimo and you have the floor, majority floor.
Thank you, Mr.
Belated
Chairman.
happy birthday.
Thank you also, Mr. Chairman. Belated happy birthday.
Talagsaon niya mo magdugan og birthday ni Kagawad Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez, majority floor.
Mga layo, Mr. Chairman. And to our colleagues in the council, friends from the media, invited guests, fellow Cagayanons, mayong hapon. I move, Mr. Chairman, to dispense with the reading of the minutes of meeting on August 10, 2020 and to consider the furnishing of its copy to every members, the reading itself.
Properly moved by the majority floor. Any second? Seconded. Objection? Correction? Correction? Hearing none. It is hereby approved.
I likewise move for the approval of the said minutes of meeting.
For its finality and seconded.
On the appearance, Mr. Chairman, we have one proposed motion number 2020-6 to hear in aid of legislation the herein resource persons regarding the perennial flooding during heavy downpour at the National Highway, particularly in barangays Kauswagan and Lapasan, both of this city. We have invited for this purpose Director Zenaida Titan, the Regional Director of Department of Public Works and Highways 10. In her stead, Mr. Chairman, we have Mr. Sabiniano Caliao Jr. and Engineer Liwald L. Picore. And we also invited the officer in charge of the first district engineer, Cagayan de Oro City, DPWH 10, Engineer Virginia G. Bakutakail. And for the second district engineer, Mr. Chairman, we have Engineer Gabriel L. Dinitaran. And for our local city engineer, Engineer Rolando M. Pakuribot. At this onset, Mr. Chairman, may I move for the suspension of the rules to allow non-members to participate in this proceeding?
Move. Any second? Seconded. The 19th City Council Rules of Procedure is suspended.
And in relation to this discussion, Mr. Chairman, may we ask the chair to kindly recognize Councilor Zaldi Ocon to brief our resource persons as to why we have invited them and the purpose of this invitation. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Saldi Ocon, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Majority Floor. The presiding officer, my fellow colleagues, the 9th Council, our visitors, especially our guests for today's very important business. People of Cagayan de Oro, of course, good afternoon. Mr. Presiding Officer, during our 51st regular session of the 19th Council, I stood up before the plenary session. This pertains to the ongoing perennial flooding in our city, not only in the first district, but also in the second district. This happened not only during heavy downpour, bisan sa gamay lang nga ulan, may tabo ang baha. Despite of the fact, presiding officer, we understand that for almost 20 years, papasiguro maabogado si Attorney Edgar Cabanlas. Wala pa maabogado ni Sige ng Baha. Diyan mismo Kauswagan. So, but until now, despite of the fact, Mr. Presiding Officer, that the national government had already spent billions of pesos just to address this perennial flooding in the city. That is why, Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence and the members, the majority members of the City Council, I stood last regular session to invite the national agency, especially the Department of Public Works and Highways, which is under their supervision and control, Mr. Chairman. And today, I understand, just to address this perennial flooding in the city, I think eight guests who are present today to shed light or give an explanation for the people of Cagayan de Oro nga naman nga magsige magidnig baha tuod. Thank you very much, Mr. Presiding Officer and the majority floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Saldi Ocon, to give an aid of legislation and to especially to shed light of this problem that we are facing right now, especially it is rainy season. So since we are all a public servant, so we have to act, do, and face this problem that our city is facing right now. So, tabangan na to ni. Mm. So, Majority Floor, do you have
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
another want to add something?
No more, Mr. Chairman. Maybe we can already ask our resource persons to kindly inform the City Council. They have already been briefed by Councilor Ocon, and of course, they know for a fact that this has been the problem of Cagayan de Oro, particularly along the highways of Cagayan de Oro. In lieu of the absence of the Regional Director of DPWH, may we ask Engineer Liward Picore to kindly use the podium, and you may now address the City Council.
Mayong hapon, Engineer.
Maayong hapon sa tanan. Your Honor, I am Engineer Sabiniano Caleo Jr., the planning officer of the regional office.
Oh, you are Engineer Sabiniano Caleao.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, okay. I stand corrected, Mr. Chairman. Continue.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, mayong hapon,
Maayong hapon sa
Engineer.
tanan.
Well, I would like to remind everyone that we are live via our social media from YouTube and Facebook right now, Engineer. Mayong hapon kanimo and welcome to the 52nd regular session of the 19th City Council. Mayong hapon.
Maayong hapon sa. I'll be presenting the drainage master plan of Cagayan de Oro City. My presentation will be divided into two major parts, Sapang, and then the western part, and then the eastern part is the Lapasan area.
Okay.
Can you proceed? The presentation is divided into rationale and the problems to be addressed, particularly at the BCIR, the Kaoswagon alignment, and the site development funding projects. As of this day, the situation in Sapang looks like this. This was taken last week of July, sometime, or first week of August, just recently. And you will find that there are really debris and overflooding. Just run through. Next. In the map, you will see the media is low long. There are three sections. Okay. The curve one, the upper curve in the upper part of the map, is the crossing towards Bolo Terminal. You will see the green and then the yellow ones. And then these magenta pink or magenta, and then the red blue ones. And as to going towards the East and Save More, you also have projects there. Next. These are the areas where we have our flood control projects. Next. This is the map. The green one are the completed, the ongoing, and then the yellow ones are the completed. As you could see, ayaw lang i-dugay sa isa. The yellow ones, you will see that the BCIR and the curved ones are the drainage along the sides of the roads are already completed. What we lack there is the connection between the lower part, kung gikan ka sa Ipunan towards the direction of the city, the right part, this inner curve, has a lower elevation to the outer curve, yung sa SNR side. since there is no connection yet towards the green one that goes to the Bulwa terminal, mo man siyang outfall nato. So magbaha pa gyud. Dili pa namo makunik because wala pa man namo na kompleto pod ang ubang drainage. And to construct the cross drainage crossing the BCR, the traffic really will be very heavy. There are 4 sections that we are planning to construct to allow the drainage or the runoff water from the mountains, hillside towards the sea, and that is from the inner curve towards the outer curve. Mo himo mi og upat ka linya nga mo cross. Dili na mo na ma-implement unless makompleto tong salo, and that is the drainage along the road leading to the Bulwa terminal. And so within NSA Kauswagan, you will notice that there are still blue. Those blue are still for 2021. The cyan are still for after humana 2021 funding. This kanabidong medyo nagkurbada-kurbada mo ng Sapang Creek na original that traverse sa likod sa Bandip. That is very narrow. Tapos lisod kayo na mo ma-access. You will find it later sa video, makita ninyo how the real situation there. And also dun sa Toyota, old Toyota crossing parang nagti green and then yellow and cyan. That creek is very narrow, yet the volume of water come from Terry Hills will go directly towards that creek. And it will compound to the junction of BCR at the old Toyota. That's why diha mapuno tanan og sagbot. There are old cross drainage. That's why we are trying to bore a hole at the middle of the road so that we will be able to clean it. But that is only temporary. We will be going to construct 4 cross drainage towards the outer curve that will lead the water paingon sa NHC, and then one to the Bulwa terminal and the other to the Sapang Creek. Again, the blue ones are for 2021, and then the cyan will come after 2021. Next. These are the packages that are going projects. Next. Just run through. Next. Pas-pas lang siya pa kay we are. Those are the typical sections of the drainage system you are going to construct on those lines. The reason that we cannot allow the drainage from the Sapang go towards the Carmen River because at the in between medyo taas kay elevation dili kabot. So nag-ana siya. So what is really ideal is that drainage from the upper portion of the West Cagayan de Oro will be going towards Kauswagan, Bulwa Terminal, and Sapang Creek. Those are really 3 outfalls. Next. So the video pa. Okay. You will notice
the attachment status presentation with drone footages. The first drone footage shows us the road section along Butuan, Cagayan, Iligan Road, or the BCIR highway with one completed project contract and one ongoing with 90.49% accomplishment for the drainage project.
That is the road to the left is going to the Borat terminal. And to the right, that is the inner
The
curve that I was
program package
telling you.
requires the provision of
That is the
bigger
lower,
rectangular
has
channel
lower
on
elevation
both
compared to
sides
the
of
left
national
one,
road that
left
is
side of the road.
frequently flooded.
That is going to the city.
It also includes 4 box culverts crossing the highway and connecting either side of the channel. In the next drone footage, presented is the drainage line at Apobel to Bulwa Bridge along Carmen Patag Road, which is still proposed for funding. This alignment is situated in the upstream portion of the Sapang Creek.
You will notice
The
how
program requires channel
narrow this creek
improvement on the
is, but
upstream
all the
portion
water
of Sapang Creek,
coming from
which includes
Apopel
the construction and
goes through that
installation
creek.
of box culvert
And
under the road
we
near
really
Apobel.
have no access.
Barangay Patag is one of the 5 barangays within the Sapang catchment that faces issues on right-of-way, which is considered a major obstruction in the implementation of drainage improvement projects.
And that is the old Toyota, the crossing of
The
the
next footage shows us the NHA alignment with 1 completed project contract, 2 ongoing with 85% and 75.68% accomplishment, and 1 project considered as a priority
is going
section.
to what's called that?
The program plays a major role in draining runoff water from Sapang Creek that may otherwise overflow at the highway due to constricted channels and culverts. This will split the flow of Sapang Creek, discharging to the coast in a shorter distance, and will serve as a major drainage outfall for the neighboring establishments.
At the left side, meron na siyang drainage sa ilalim. Out the right. Going to the concert sa Bulwa, Beach Bulwa.
The drainage outfalls for the Sapang, Bitanab, and Colombo catchment drain to Makahalar Bay, which is located in the northern part of the city and significantly determines the flooding extent due to tidal fluctuations. In the next footage, presented is a drainage channel along westbound terminal with 1 completed project contract, 1 ongoing with 85.51% accomplishment, and 1 project considered as a priority section. The program provides drainage mainly receiving runoff from the subcatchment downstream along the road that passes through potential business sections, including the bus terminal passing along Sa Arenas Avenue. Barangay Bulwa as well faces issues on right-of-way, considered as a major obstruction in the implementation of drainage improvement projects in the area.
At below the road is the box culvert. Di agagi ang tubig. Pahingin na siya ng sapat. Pahingin na sa dagat.
The next drone footage presents the drainage channel from BCIR to Ipunan River or the downstream portion of Sapang Creek, with one priority section and one project proposed for funding.
This is the old Sapang
Located
Creek
in the downstream of Sapang
at the
Creek,
back of
the
Bandip.
project involves channeling, river embankment, including diversion channel to Ipunan River, aimed to improve the capacity of Sapang Creek.
At the portion of the diversion road, we already have some completed area. But on the near the BCIR, wala pa gid na maabot. That is the completed portion. Goes towards the Bulwa Beach Road.
Sapang catchment recorded the highest population of 105,299 and 20,874 households in 2010, which makes right-of-way issues a major concern in the implementation of drainage improvement projects along the respective areas.
Okay na siguro pa. So, as you could see, the flood control component in the DPWH MINU program for infra projects do not have road right-of-way component on the premise that all our creeks, all our rivers do not have obstructions. That is our problem. Na may mga tao, wala man supposed to be na sila, dili may makabutang og daghan kay kwarta. We are bounded with the 1-year implementation period. We can only provide as much, just much that we could complete. Makaya namang right-of-way. The process would be, since there is no right-of-way component in the funding for the flood control MINU in the infrastructures and DPWH, we will evaluate it as soon as we get the project. When we evaluate, we will be able to determine the number of obstructions, the houses. That's the time we will going to request for funding. Medyo naulahin na. Kung limpyo unta ang atong crate, dili unta daghang tao, daghang balay, then we could have requested or recommended many sections that could be funded. Dili kami maka full swing because we are limited to 1-year validity period of the funds. So the main problem is right-of-way. We are submitting project proposals for 2021 around more than 1 billion for the whole city. We doubt that we could complete it. We are still not sure if we could complete it because of the right-of-way. If all our creeks and all our rivers are clear of obstructions na wala na po yung mga tao, including the easement, dili unta kayo may maglisod. So among hangyo sa inyo kung pinunta. Matabangan mi. While our mandate provides that we will provide the drainage system, but we do not have police power. We do not have the capability to remove those people who are living there for years without knowledge na naka-obstruct na sila or ibalayan na nila mismo creek. So namin nga dilima na. As to the funding requirements, medyo layo pa kayo may. Wala pa may katunga. Sa Sapang, it's only 700 and then in million. We still have 1.6 billion to come. So wala pa may nakatunga. Pero dili pa may makaparecommend og in the previous years, galisod big recommend og dagko, dinaghan. Because we are not really sure mahuman ba namo. And then kung dili na mo mahuman, ma-revert ang funds, that's a negative on our part. Besides, saan na pahangyo niya later on kung kami di makahuman ng projects. So we strategize in such a way that what we are requesting, we can complete it. In fact, one of the hardest part of our office, the hardest part of the regional director is to vet, to certify on her out that the project she recommend has no right of way problem, therefore implementable. Those are the warnings contained in the certification that she signed. And I concur. Ako mismo po, ginisiyan lang ko. But in reality, di naman dyan ang taon. Siguro kung daghan na kayo ni siya, o limpyo ni kayo ni, kanang 2.8, 2.4 billion, siguro, nahuman na. Pero dili man good may maka-full swing. In reality, lisod yun. Because of this too much problem in the recent months, last year, nagsugod, RD Zenitan decided that mga igitagdako kayo. And so we did. And it was forwarded in Manila, and I believe it will be released. The only problem remains is ma-implement ba na mo? That remains to be a problem. The problem in Sapang is the same in all drainage area in Cagayan de Oro. As you can see, there are 3 contracts that we envision to be completed in the year 2021 in Sapang only. And following that, we have 7 contracts. It is divided into buckets that is around 150, an average 150 million, and that is ideal to be completed in 1 year. If there is no road right of way problem, if there is no right of way problem.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask whether we ask the resource person after he has spoken, or we will allow all the speakers to present their presentation to the council first?
Maybe we have to present.
The
They will
other-
present all in all from
Ako
District 1 and District 2.
Ako lang, sir.
Oh, okay.
On the questions of the others can answer, the others may answer.
Okay.
If that is the case, any other remarks that you would like to?
Okay. I will just siguro
Inform the
continue akong gi-present ang funding requirements as against the funding releases. Layo pa kayo mi. So unless mahumantaan ay lagi ito magsolbad.
Do you have
experience
any
with
other PowerPoint presentation?
We have at the Bitanag area.
Okay, we'll listen. Sige, kindly proceed.
Thank you. I think we just have to present the whole map na lang siguro pa para madali. The one we discussed this morning pa. Not that one. The one with the Hapsay Sapa. Yeah, that one. Yeah. This is the map where the Bitanag Creek is. The blue one, that is going to be funded 2021. The cyan will come after that. The yellow ones are the completed section. The green ones are the ongoing. The problem we have, kung maabot ang kwarta, this doon na support nga blue one, dark blue, mag-lisod may implement. So we have another option is to follow through the road. Manang nag-L lugar sa di kami moagi sa dalan. But doing so, grabe kay ang traffic dia. Kay ang traffic dia, wala may undang hantod 24 hours ng traffic support. Kung di pa gid may moagi, unsa na lang ka. Kung di pa na mo banggan ang ilalom, di na mo ipaagi ang among drainage. Di wa na gyud makaagi nga sakyanan. But the creek follow the blue one. That's the natural creek. But we have problems on that. The open creek is the one that is in the USTP. Besides the Panamura o Gahok. Then we were discussing with the Hapsay Sapa this morning, and then the area is really good. Mapuha unta nato. But the one that is crossing from the Usminya and then going to the right side of the one that is murag nakahok, naay gamay nga dalan diha. We plan to construct a drainage box culvert sa ilalom. That would cater mo gikan sa Usminya nga drainage paingon diha, then goes to the Bitanag Creek. Balik sa the blue one from the Kitka areas, medyo nalangan lang and everybody knows, I think, the scenario. So instead, we prioritize the Rec 2 and then the road leading to Agora. Hapit namin na humanahon. Given the Bitanag Creek, kung human lang naman na siya, the one that is in Hawk, and then coupled with the one in Agora, I believe okay na ang drainage diya. Masolve na. Because amo naman ang na-simulate, we have a consultant, it was being simulated, and then it will really be able to solve. What we'll be needing there is the same as that of the Sapang, help the LGU, so that we could implement then tama naman siguro pa, and then you can show the video. The funding mo na pa, itong funding, ang last funding niya. So in the Sapang area, we still have 2 point how much billion, itong amount niya. Napami sa 1.4 billion pang kulang. No, Sapang malapang. Ang katong sa Bitanag. On Bitanagas, On Bitanag, we have 781 releases, and then we still have 3 billion more to complete the region system. Take note, these are already included in the master plan. Nakahilira lang, di lang may makapagpamugos o pa-release unless we can do it. So, please provide the video. Thank you. The drone is taken from the port towards the alignment of the Bitanag Creek. You will notice there are areas na masikip na kayo. If we are going to widen the creek, daghang yung maigo ng mga buildings. For example, that kayo. And the houses. This is the Bitanag Creek, and then at the left part, that is the USTP, the one with blue. And then if you will notice, there is a tower. That tower, that is the area where we're going to construct a road. That one. That is the area where we're going to construct the road for the drainage from the Osmeña. Next. Present ka pa. So this is the drone, the one at the back of the SM. Open man ni siya, okay naman ni siya maka improve po man siguro tana. And this is the back before the supplies at the Mandawi Fum. Sa may 10 pao katong gi-drawing na to sa after that ba, please present the one that is katong drawing sa mahuman ng drainage ba ato atong ideal kumbaga atong gi-present ato kanina and then the typical cross section. Katong ganina sa buntag with the half size sa paba. That is supposed to be the one we envision to complete. Sana inala among mahimo. Okay, there is an access road for the maintenance, and then on both sides. The width of the drainage is 12, and then both sides has a road of 5 plus 1 on the canal, so a total of 24. Pero maglisod mi og abot og 24. There are areas talaga maglisod mi. So those areas, we will have to compromise to reduce the access road. Pero mas maigit na ay access road because kung saan mo paglimpyo kung dili na mo mabutangan. Paki-present ang cross-section pa. So this is the 12, yeah, that is the 12 meter na open, and then open drainage, and then on the sides 5 plus ang carriageway, ang roadway, and then 1 for canal, for line canal. So that is our supposed to be project. Thank you so much. That is the area that, okay, balik ko pa. That is the area sa Tasmania. Mo cross dito sa Bitanag Creek. Barangay road man siguro na siya. So, that is power heaving parts. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Can you take your seat first, engineer? Thank you. May we hear now the officer in charge of First Engineering District of Cagayan de Oro, Engineer Virginia Butacael. Ma'am.
Mayong hapon, Engineer. Honorable Vice Mayor
Mayong hapon.
Rainier Joaquin Uy, members of this honorable body, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Virginia G. Batucail, the OIC District Engineer of Cagayan de Oro First District Engineering Office. I was assigned here last November 25, 2019, as replacement to DE Yoli Igam, who has then retired. So, as far as your invitation prompted me to come here, though I have no full knowledge of anything happening, because in your one it states there will be no replacement. So I am forced to be here with I bring along with me my staff, construction engineer, Roel Condesa, to help me if ever I could not address any query or concern you have. But then I'm happy that I will be part of the civil servants for the city, great city of Cagayan de Oro. And I promise to commit myself to take full responsibility and with my utmost dedication to serve the city. Our project, we implemented projects specifically in the district, legislative district of City First, not apart from the comprehensive plan as presented by the Engineer Sabiniano Calio, the regional office. So it's part and parcel of that. So we are just taking a piece of the puzzle. So anyway, as to it was presented there, the Sapang Bridge, the Sapang Canal, our problem there is siltation and kuan. The efficiency of the drainage as of this today might be, there are sections that is almost 50% rugged due to silted soil nga. It has accumulated through the years. Because with these flood control projects that was implemented 5 years ago or way back then, uh, for information of everyone, we did not receive any funds for maintenance of this. So that our perennial problem is how could we address this demand without money. So for now, anyway, the reality is this, and we have talked with our regional director. We will address this. Anyway, we will just start from here until we could improve what is already in there. So again, a pleasant afternoon for all of us.
Okay, thank you, Engineer. For our next.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Engineer Anastasio G. Marundan, the District Engineer of the 2nd Engineering District of Cagayan de Oro.
Mayong hapon, Engineer.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor.
Mayong hapon.
Mayong hapon po sa atong council. Actually, I am Engineer Gabriel Ginitaran. Engineer Marundan recently retired last March. So I am taking over OIC capacity. Sa among part sa 2nd District sa Cagayan de Oro City, bali ang perennial flooding in Lapasan area, I think is already partly solved. Kanang usually pag kusog ang ulan sa Cagayan de Oro, ang USTP nga area mo'y una mabahaan. Sa karon ang USTP murag na partly solved adtong gikuan ni Engineer Calyaw ganiha katong going to Agora, murag didto na mo impound ang tubig. Murag na-catch na niya tanan, murag gamay na lang ang tubig, nakita na mo last Friday o katong niagi pang nakusog nga ulan, gamay na lang ang tubig. Mali kung ma-realize tong iyang giingon nga katong sa Limkit Kay area, siguro ang sa Recto Avenue paingon dito sa Lapasan murag okay na. Ang among problema lang karon is ang sa Osmeña. Osmeña Street. Actually ang Osmeña Street is under the city engineers kang Engineer Roland Pacuribot. Pero naami project dia karon ongoing. Pero kuan lang na siya, sobra lang ang kwarta namo sa Gaabukayan Bridge. Nagbutang lang mig gamay nga drainage paingon didto pero di gid moabot katong area nga gagabahaan. Bali sige la amo lang gitan-aw ganiya, nag-discuss mi ganiha sa among planning engineer. Actually I am with my planning engineer si Engineer Montes. Nag-discuss mi ganiya og ang project engineer namo didto kung pwede pa ba namo i-extend up to katong mabahaan nga area ang kanal para ma-catch ang katong tubig dito sa Osmeña, malabay dahil namo dito sa Bitanag, dito sa Gaabukayan Bridge nga kamulo namong construct karon. Pero sa karon wala pa ma-open kana nga kanal kay napay mga road right of way problem dinhi sa Gaabukayan Bridge mismo. So kanang pagliko sa jetty oil, pag ma-open na siguro na namo siguro tapos ma-extend na mo gamay itong kanal siguro ang Osmeña Street makuha na po ang tubig. So sa 2nd District Mura man siguro po akong isulti, wala naman po yung laing problema. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Engineer. Well, majority floor for the sequence of the
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
reporter or the invited guests that we had.
Last but not the least, our city engineer, Engineer Rolando Pacoribot. Is he around or his representative? Yeah. Yun? Can we now proceed, Mr. Chairman, to questions from the members?
Okay, carry on, majority floor.
Maybe we can start from the originator, Councilor Zaldi Ocon.
Okay,
And,
Councilor
other
Saldi
members will
Ocon.
follow.
Salamat kayo, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. I would like to address my query to the first invited guest, Engineer Calyao. Sir, can you use the microphone, sir? Please.
Okay.
Tulo lang sir akong point. First, Kauswagan Highway. Mingon ka kaganiha sir nga naidili makunik. Sakto ba ko sir? Kalyaw. Dili makunik mao na nga magbaha paghihapon.
Dili pa na makunik ron.
Unsa to di makunik sir palihog ko no.
Kaning ni ang nagkurbada dili sir kanang na yellow bitaw nga kurbada nga upper. Sa
Pila ka metros na engineer?
Kalabit ang paingon sa
Kilometer?
terminal blue at terminal sir. Di ba na dark blue sir?
Oo.
Then katupong sa Kauswagan na kurbada, apoy dark blue.
Oo.
Kung mahumana sa sir, ay rami mo abri og BCIR kay ay raman din siya makunik na. Kay ang gikan sa baha diri sa taas, paubos pa yung dito. Kanang duha ka buok dark blue sir.
I-address lang ko sir sa presiding officer, Sir Palihog.
Okay.
Okay. Sir.
Your Honor, kanang nang duha ka buok nga kanang blue, kanang going to terminal sir, and then the one that is also going to Kauswagan in its ehe. In its iba. Katong na nag-corb, yes.
So, so the problem, engineer, is the dark blue.
The dark blue, kung
Dark
matapos naman na sir, then we can implement the 4 connector drainage gikan sa inner curve towards the outer curve yung sa Pikas.
Wala ba'y mga private owner, mga palay nga maigo diha sir?
Daghan good sir.
Daghang yun.
Yes, sir.
So maunay problema nato.
Yes, sir.
So you need mention while ago while you are reporting that you have no police power, right?
Yes, sir.
So meaning you need
We need your help, sir.
participation from the city government
Yes, sir. Indeed, we really need your help.
in the beginning. So I suggest Mr. Presiding Officers and the members of this council that we will call up the attention from the City Housing, Urban and Development to address this flight from the office of the Department of Public Works and Highways. And I also suggest, Mr. Presiding Officer, the Secretariat to please put into record that the Committee on Engineering and Public Work will conduct a committee hearing pertaining to this problem. And I would like Mr. Chairman also to invite Councilor Inday Dahino as also very knowledgeable as far as this problem is concerned. Kung na lang siguro, Sir Torch, ipatawag lang nato pohon. Nanay kwarta ana, sir?
Sir, sa karon lugar nga 2020 wala. Pero i-release na siya sa for 2021.
Okay.
Part of 1 billion that we requested for 2021.
Meaning, bisan na mo'y kwarta, ug di pa nato ma-address ang problema diha sa mga tao. Ligya po ninyo, sir, matrabaho.
Magdisag yun, sir.
Maulagi na. So, Mr. Chairman, mo na ang angay natong tagaan o pagtagad. So, anyway, sir, dini po ko sa Limkit kay area. Gisugda naman ito, sir. Gihunong naman sad. Nganong ka?
Bago lang naman na dapat ang MOA from Mr. Alfonso Lin, sir. So we will be going, part na po siya sa 2021, sir.
Okay. Unsay purpose na nahunong, sir?
Dugay kami na stalemate atong pag-come up sa MOA, sir.
Mao ba, sir? Okay. So, karon na ay approval ang tagiya.
Yes, sir.
Sanay pirma. So, ma-proceed na nato na, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ikatulo,
Pero ang punduan na, sir, next year pa, sir.
2021
Yes,
gapon.
yes, sir.
Okay. Nakabay ideya, sir, pila ang budget ana?
The whole that we requested for Sapang and Bitanang is 1 billion.
Okay. Pero walay problema mga balay nga maagian.
Ayun, sir.
Na problema gyapon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, engineer sir, laing pangutana nato. Ini dala ko lang din kay namang gyud ng utana. Kanang Bitanag Creek sa Lapasan,
Yes, sir.
wala may baha diya sukad. Ay nangutana, nganong gipatas naman ang dalan diha tuod, sir?
Tulay man na sa, sir. Ang paghimo magud sa tulay, sir, baga ginan siya, sir. And then kung ang dili na to ipahabog, so ang kabag-on sa tulay mo paubos, gamay lang mabilin sa kanal nga lagi ang
okay,
tubig.
okay,
So
thank
ipataas
you.
gina ipaana siya.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Presiding Officer, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Saldi Ocon.
Manalang ako iklaro ta, sir, nga katong gaingon na nga connector, upat ra ba to siya kabuk section diya sa ipa-enlarge ko na lang section kay basin nyo aron mahibaw ang sa tanan nga upat na siya ka section nga sa BCI dito sa Sapang. Upat siya ka section nga among abrihan among yung bungkagon ang mismong BCIR that will really cause traffic. Upat na siya ka section. Before, after mahuman lugar ng blue, ipakita itong upat ka section, Pao. Aron mahibalo sila nga naay upat ka section nga bungkag o atong gabason lugar ang dalan ba. Kaya og dili namon ang mga gabas ang upat ka section di gyapon siya magsulbad. Okay, asa na to pa? Okay na, these are the 4 section, the red ones. You will, yes, sir. Ano, sa Sapang pa, sir, na...
So, Kauswagan.
So, upat ka ng all the 4 reds na iduha daw sa Kauswagan, and iduha sa Bulwa, sa Terminalisa, and din sa Bandip na pit. So, upat na sa kabuk nga, ug amo ng bungkagon, part ra ba na sa next year nga pondo, dako giging traffic problema na to, sir. Pero hinaot nung ta nga makasabtan po sa mga tao po. Okay na ko, sir.
Bandit, Bulwa Terminal, Pitron. Pitron ug sa Toyota. Okay. Okay, thank you, Engineer. Okay. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday. There's a query, Engineer, from, is it okay? Want to shed light? Okay, there's a 2 thumbs up. So it's okay. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday, want to ask something?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, my colleagues, and thank you also for to the visitors. No, thank you very much of your nice presentation. At least we know the situation, District 1, District 2 problem. I am from Kaswagan, engineer, Gusto engineers, no? DPWH, representative. Kami pirmi magkakalusdukan sa reklamo sa katawhan, labi na dyan sa NHA up to Bulwa, no? So, given the situation, problema ninyo ang road right of way, traffic, budgetary. You know? So, first question is, what's your strategy? While you are working with that for the completion, thinking nga naibaan ninyo nga magbaha magyod sige ba. What is your strategy nga dili na siya ma-prevent ang constant recurrence of flooding? Naba mo'y mga alternatives while you are still ongoing project, no? Kay problema man yun dili ibot sabot nga watan pa natong 2021 nga ina talaga po ng situation. There must be an alternatives to avoid flooding. So I'm asking the strategy. The next question is, problema man mo sa road right of way, in your end, doon na ba mo'y gihimo ng initiative to coordinate with the city government or agency so that we could be of help, like the city council, to do or to address this situation? That's the only two questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Roger Abaday. Okay, I think it is loud and clear from engineer about your question or query.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sa Pirmiro, first question is strategy. While the project is still ongoing and in perennial project still, we are still experiencing perennial projects, we have conducted a boring of the median. On those 4 sections, for proposed cross drainage, there is an old drainage with smaller diameter that cross on that line. What we did now is nagbangag kami, bangag destunga sa Median Island, so that will be our access to remove this heavy siltation. Ang sa pagkakaroon is siltation yun. Dili sad mi muundak og every now and then panguha og baha. Panguha og basura diha. So sa kilid we enlarge the size of the manhole into karon nagsugod na ang among construction division og 2 by 2 na siyang manhole, so enough for the bucket of the backhoe to enter. Kay og mano-mano dili mi kapas. So we enlarged those manholes, and then those are the strategies that we are doing in time we're waiting for the funds. But di ginampugngan nga na ay daghan kayang debris. So every now and then pag napagyapon magsige gyud hakot. As to the initiative that we did for the right of way problems, we always coordinate with the local. They are really helping for us. Ang kulang lang din sa amo is sometimes there are people nga nabayaran na balik lagi apon. Nabayaran na sila, di magyapon sila maadto dito sa bukid mo puyo kay layo ra daw sa ilang pangita. So mobalik lagi apon sa ilang puyan. Recurrence nga problem na sa sir Kalabang. Kaproblema mi sa imbes kay amo na siyang papahawaon. Na pumagyapon. Na dili mi makapapahawa kung dili makahatag katunga. Tumahatag ni katunga. Supposed to be inta yang bangkagon yang balay. Ang dawas sa katunga. Di magyapon sa bungkag sir. Then, pero gatabang gid ang city sir. Pero di man po namon ang mahimog, dili mo sila matabang. Almost every week coordinate ang HAPSA with us. So in terms of coordination, pirmi gid mi. There are several meetings. Ang amo lang hangyo gid in town kanara yung nakita ng mga problema nga ang relocation site. Ang medyo taduol sa siyudad kay reklamo ang among mga taong makuha ag balay kay layo ra kuno sila pangita. Gapuyo sila dia na among maglisod gyud mi. Pero as to coordination, coordinate kina sir. Every week, almost every week.
Hapsay sa pa.
Yes sir.
Paluap, Mr. Chairman, paluap.
Okay.
Hangyo lang, engineer, no?
Yes, sir.
Kay mo mga kauban ba? Mintras tanto, kung kita na ninyo nga, na nagiba kay maklaro man.
Yes sir.
Please, padali din ninyo og mga equipment siya para nga di gid mo sobra ang dili gid mo dako amo ang baha ba? Amo
Yes sir. Gapadala gid. DE Bato Kail in the first district and DE Ginitaran na sila ready team to
Dili lang sa district 1 sa po district 2
yes,
siguro.
they are kaya nga DE Ginitaran. They are ready to answer.
Na may mga bako si Councilor Rosido, pwede man na mahalaman siguro.
Okay. Okay, Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez. Okay. Okay. Engineer Caliao, Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez wants to ask.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Engineer Caliao and the rest of the members and the visitors. Good afternoon. Actually, there are only 3 questions I'd like to ask Mr. Chair to Engineer Caliao. You just have to answer me yes or no. So it's a very simple question. I have 3 important questions I want to raise for your to you, Engineer from DPW. The first question is just a very quick answer, yes or no. I would like to know whether are you familiar with Section 455? Section 45, paragraph 16.
Not no.
Okay, so this is all about the city mayor who will be the supposedly shall call upon any official or employee station in or assigned to the city to advise him on matters affecting the city and to make recommendations thereon. So appeal kanunay ang mayor, coordinate with the said official or employee in the formulation, implementation of plans, programs, and projects, and when appropriate, initiate an administrative or judicial action against a national government official or employee who may have committed an offense in the performance of his official duties while stationed or assigned to the city. Actually, I've been hearing doon na yung mga problema about what you call this right of way. So this concerns not only DPW but entire city, in which all of us are responsible for this action. Ang ako lay pangutana sa the Engineer Caliao is that kay wala have you coordinated ingon ka na hapsay no, but then is this coordination regular?
Yes, ma'am.
So there is always what you call this regular coordination with the city and DPWH.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, setting aside politics, sometimes it goes politics. So ang ako lang unta, Mr. Chair, if you allow me, no, nga if we can only have in view of this DPWH, if we can prepare a city ordinance in this effect to create an advisory to solve this dugay na gyud kay nga problema with most especially with this drainage, because Xavier University 2016 already surveyed that the #1 problem of the city is drainage. So with this advisory committee, Mr. Chair, if you can allow me to have this committee on drainage system of Cagayan de Oro, I mean submitting an ordinance to the city to have this committee on drainage system in which the chairman will be the mayor. Ang mayor good ang chairman with the co-chairman of DPWH and then the vice mayor and the rest of the members. Kay para matutukan yun ni, because this problem will not be a problem now. It will be a problem towards later. Sa ato pa ni mga anak. When Attorney Cabanla said, gamay pa siya nga problema. And I think also, ako napakustiyan sa akong mama. And then Councilor Balada, napasiguro siya sa hangin pa. No? How about ang among mga anak? So this will be an ongoing problem that can be probably lessen the problem and implement the project of DPWH through this committee in which the mayor will be the chairman of this committee, Mr. Chair. If you allow me to submit an ordinance next week.
Okay.
So, dili na gyud nato madisturbo pa ang uban, no? So that sayon kaayo ang pagsulbar ni ining problema ha. Kay doon na naman tay komitiba for this alone. Kay dugay na magyud kani nga problema. Murag kapoy na kay ba? Kapoy na ta sige yaw-yaw, kapoy na ta sige paminaw. In fact, wala kita kay balo. Karon ra ko na kay balo gali unsa gi problema sa Bitanag, unsa problema sa Sapang, sa atong river. So, kana with this nanatay idea or nanatay kay balo para makibalot ta unsa gyud yung problema, Engineer Calyaw. Para kami dili sad mi mag ngano man to, baha man to, ngano man nga nagbaha man eh. So we will be given also a clear view of the problem and probably solve the problem in a harmonious way with the city and DPWH. More gina, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez. Well, it is much very welcome about the drafting of such ordinance as long as it will gone through the proper procedure. So, next, Councilor Enrico Salcedo. Well, I think the mayor also, through his executive order for establishing this hapsay sapa. That is why I think it is the mayor also, the good mayor also, Oscar Moreno, is heading that hapsay sapa department or a special group of the SED for addressing this issue. Okay, Councilor Enrico Salcedo.
Dagang salamat, Mr. Chairman. Mayong hapon sa tanan. Nalo ko'y pangutan Mr. Chairman. Una, kinsay in charge sa paghimo sa plano sa mga project sa dini sa atong syudad, ang region or ang district engineer or district engineering's office. For example, diya sa Sapang Creek, kinsa in charge?
Your Honor, ang charge sa the preparation of the plan, we call it the detailed engineering design plan. It is the regional office based on the recommendation as derived from the FS that we had procured. Thank you, sir.
Nakapangutan ako, Mr. Chairman, tungod kay nakamatigod ko anang Sapang Creek. Giguba na, nagigiotro. Ano man to, nasayop to? Nay, anang Sapang Creek, primero pag-construct anang Sapang Creek, giguba.
No, wala sa. Nag-widen lang sa tulay.
Di man kay kato siya, gi-construct na ninyo ang Sapang Creek, paguman, giguba o niya, saan man to, giayo to or kay, nga ni mag-gubli si Chairman, nakapuntan ako, tungod kay nasayangan ko kwarta, second. Tanaw na to, tong pila ka linear meter ang katong District 1.
Sa nga project.
Pwede na.
Ang project nga gi-implement sa district.
Okay, District 1. Linear meter is 18,161.
Yes, sir.
Including kanang sa highway, gikan sa Toyota, padulong sa Cagayan River.
No, sir. Ang Your Honor, yung the one that is going to Cagayan de Oro River are only on portions of the near Savemore. Because the elevation between the Savemore and that of the Kauswagan,
Can you elaborate?
masyadong, the difference is too high.
If we allow to interrupt,
Yes, sir.
Engineer, Councilor Enrico Salcedo, the elaboration of the Sapang Creek is that from Makahalar Bay down to, I think, Bayabas and Bonbon, the two, what do you call this one? The two linear part, parallel, and that could be the project that Engineer Calyaw elaborate or explain, not for the portion of Marcos Bridge,
Yes,
but
sir.
to the
This is the
directed to Makahalar Bay.
Taas lugar kang elevation.
Yes, sir.
Mana nga dili ninyo
Dili,
connect.
dili makaya, Your Honor, to bring the water drainage from the Kauswagan towards CDO River via National Road. No.
Anong di man makaya kung penalitan ko ano tong
That's very, very, very costly, Your Honor, because you will be going to construct. Tapos, there is a backflow because the elevation of the water.
asa may costly kung pag kanang may go nga mga settlers o tawagan na mga squatters nga inyong problema masayon man sulbaron ang gikan sa highway kuon ninyong level padulong sa Cagayan River.
More than 2 meters, mga Mayor. Right? Sir, taas kaya.
2 meters ang kalawom.
Ang difference between elevation.
Lagi ang kalawom.
The elevation between the Savor and Kauswagan is all more than 2 meters.
2 meters. Okay. Kung mauman na ang kanang westbound.
Yes, sir.
Westbound. Masulbad ka ang problema sa baha diya?
Partly, yes, Your Honor. Because dako naman kay ang volume nga ma-divert towards
Kay kung tanaw nimo Mr. Chairman, tanaw kitong dito sa Tumoy. Pwede ba nato makita katong sa drone ninyo?
Yes, sir.
Sa drone. Madam, tanaw to sa drone. Katong sa drone ga katong sa, di ba?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sa katong sa TV.
Kana, sir, kana. Medyo
The Sapon catchment shows us the road set.
Katong sa Tumoy na gyud, Tumoy na. Katong sa
Sapon Creek River
katong sa westbound na, sa Tumoy na. Nganong partly man masul. Kung atong tan-awon dako man ang volume mga kaagi dito.
na magoy area of flooding from the banga bitaw nga portion, sir. Kada nga area dapit sa may that will run through the Sapang portion, then diha ra gina siya agi sa Sapang Creek. And then on the Toyota side also, paingon gina siya sa may Bulwa Terminal. But there are also portion in the Kauswagan nga paingon gina siya sa Kauswagan. So there are 3 exits. Pero mahuman man na sa sir kung kay next year na may funding ang both.
May funding karon
by 2021.
2021 dabi kay COVID man na. Sure nga may funding.
Di na sir nasa.
Ha?
Nada.
Gawas kung mapatabang to ni Councilor Balaba. Kining sabi nga bridge sa Kaswagan Bridge connecting Puntod.
Kaswagan Bridge connecting Puntod. Yes, sir.
Ako engineer, sayangan ko sa kwartas gobyerno. Tungod kay pag-construct sa Kaswagan Bridge, karon gibungkag na sab. Ngano gibungkag man engineer nga wala dito may long range plan nga nganong ana man pag-construct sa Kaswagan Bridge nya karon gibungkag na sab.
Sa lapit ang ibungkag, sir. Katong sa may Kauswagan na side?
Kaswagan side.
Okay. That is part of the recommendation by the UP Planades on their research that the area on the Kauswagan side will serve as the natural catch basin so that the water will be going just to stay there, and then volume of water will stay there because nakatunggan siya, sir. The construction of Kauswagan Bridge, that is what we call the third bridge in our inventory. That was when we did that experiences in Dong. We were not able to experience flooding as much as Sendong. When Sendong comes, the third bridge is already completed, sir. So by the time we experience Sindong and then Pablo, then we come up with a study, and then it turned out that those areas, that green one, are considered the natural catch basin. This area, so that the drainage pass through along this one. So muna imong giingon sir nga gibungkag, yes, sir.
Asa na?
Kaning green, sir. Kaning green. kanang green sir, this area serves as a natural catch basin.
Kaya kung atong tanawin mo good, Mr. Chairman, na naman ko'y mega
Yes.
dike, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Do you think after sa mega dike, maglunop gyapon na?
And based on the study, sir, that is on a 50-year return period, the flood dili pa. But more than that, there is a possibility.
Gipangutanan ako manggod ni siya, Mr. Chairman, kasi no priority ba? Kay dapat unta priority nato ang sapang. Ang project unta o ang pondo nga gibutang nato diya, gibutang unta nato sa problema nato diya sa Sapang Creek. Kay gimension man nimo kaganina nga basin mangayo tag pundo tapos unya basin ang inyong ma-question inyong performance kay basin iuli lang o ma-revert mana nga siguro unta mas maayos sa unta nga priority. Fourth na ako nga pangutana dili na sa second district. Kanang sa kuan, kanang sa Agora.
Yes, sir.
Giputol man sa highway, di ba? Marag wala mapadayon. Kano sa kana siya engineer?
Asa nga portion sa Agora?
Di ba kanang Agora padung fronting Pure Gold.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Di ba giputol na karon?
Ongoing na siya karon, sir.
Pero wala pa. Unsa may ongoing dia? Ang katong asa man na padulong?
Going to the sea, sir.
I mean,
Dagat
di sa
yapon.
highway. Kay diri man na sa muning highway. Naman na diri karon Agora. Naputol man na.
Munang muagigigan sa kit guys.
Sampungan man na ninyo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Kano sa kana
Next year, sir.
next year?
Yes, sir.
Sa to pa next year pagid na makakuanta. Ano next year pa man? Ano dili man karon nga year?
Wala po may kwarta, sir. Next year man mabot.
Nasamot na ako next year walay panding.
Naa, sir. Ingon
Kay
nila.
wa ka ni pandingan, wala pa COVID. Ang matsumar kung nanay
It was assured by our undersecretary for planning, that is Yusek Cabral, that she will put emphasis or priority on the CDO drainage. And we requested 1 billion amount for next year. So she give it a top priority for the whole NDR.
Kining kuan sir, kining Gabukayan.
Okay, sir.
Nganong gi pataas man imbis creek ra mura naging mo na bridge. Gabukayan o portion sa Agora.
Your Honor, magpalaban ko, Your Honor. Siya ang nasa construction.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I am Liwal Picori.
Silingan ako.
Yes. For the question of why the nagiatong gipahabog, the existing there in along Valenzuela and along Gabukayan is a box culvert, 3-barrel box culvert. Now, the improvements of that Abitanag Creek from PPE towards the recto is to widen the creek from present karon paingon sa 12 meters. Meaning, anticipated ang volume of water nga moagi. So that's why from box culvert, i-change na to from bridge. I-elevate na to gamay, as mentioned niya kanina, once we will construct a bridge, ang iyang thickness sa slab plus iyang mga structures, mubaga siya. So to give we clearance for the volume of water, mo na siyang ma-elevate siya. So mo na yung reason behind nga nung mo-elevate ang atong bridges. In addition also, katong question ganina, nga wala na padayon ng kanang recto from Agora. Actually, we have still 35 million remaining to continue. Probably we will be discussing this week or next week with RTE to arrange with the traffic scheme unsay buhaton nato. Kaya agreement naman with the city government through RTE is ato sang i-assure ang Agora area na passable sa traffic para dili makabuang-buang og ayo atong traffic.
Kanang kuan engineer, kanang 35 million, kano sa lang ang funding?
That is under 2018 budget.
2018 karon pa ninyo i-implement?
Wala, actually it was implemented but gipahunong mi sa city government kay face by face because of the traffic congestion. Mo na nga ang makita nato sa Agora na yung mga part ana na implemented na siya part.
Kano sa lang naman ang Agora? Katong kanang sa kuan, kano sa lang?
Actually wala pa na siya nahuman, gihold.
Na-stop.
Last year pa.
Last year.
Oh, because ang agreement with the RTE is dili mi pwede mo proceed along recto kung ang katong gaabukayan o kanang kuan nga dili pa passable to traffic. Karon kay ang gaabukayan ang drainage sa laman sa kilid niguhatag signal si RTA na pwede mo proceed, but we have to mag-meeting sa mi including the utility providers kaya daghan jud maigo the underground and aerial.
Ang gabukayan is slippage na sila, wala?
Wala kay approve man sa suspend ang gabukayan under sa district nag-complete naman siguro nila unsa man siya.
Dugay kinuha ng gabukayan.
Actually ang implementation sa syudad, yes of course tan-aw na to dugay siya because we have so many issues. One is right of way, underground facilities and area facilities nga dugay dayon ma-address sa atong mga utility providers. That's why several meetings atong gikuan sa syudad sa atong mga departments o ang mga utility pero dugay lagi kay funding yapon.
Water district.
Yes, water district, PLDT and other utilities, si Palco maapektuhan nato. And for the information everybody katong ganina coordination, our regional office wrote a letter to Mayor Moreno because we have fundings under 2017 in Bitanag and Colambog. So nagsulat among direktor kung unsa man gyud atong kanus-an nato ma-address ang kaning atong problema sa road right of way atong mga settlers. So last after ato nagpadala og team ang CHUD to evaluate sa site. Then last August 5 nagmeeting me with city administrator. Ang agreement there is to reassess the availability of relocations. Kay in Colambog, we have 172 affected structures. In Gaabukayan, in Bitanag, we have 119 structures. Based lang na sa kwarta karon nga abton.
Tingala mo ko Mr. Chairman, kay ako lang gi-question ang inyong priority manggod. Ang dapat unta, ako lang niya, dapat unta giuna ninyo ang highway. Kay naman dili ang baha. Ang Gabukayan wala man na magbaha, ang Valenzuela wala man na magbaha. Dapat uta giuna ning Pure Gold gisumpay katong 35 million para kanang problema diya sa USDP dili na magbalik-balik. Kay balo ka Mr. Chairman, especially des Kasuagan. As chairman sa committee sa environment, ako nang tanang paplayan og quarry permit kay murag bagong suba. Wala, Mr. Chairman, nga dapat unta nga i-priority na ninyo kana gid untang highway. Kaya naman di ang problema nato. Pareho ra gyapon diya sa Kasuagan, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair and Mr. Kagawad. We wish nga ato gyud na ma-prioritize. But ang among ahensya is dependent on the release of the budget. Dili na mo control. Kung makita ninyo ang release sa budget, ang among gusto unta, masulban na ito isa ka seksyon. Pero kung makita nimo gakatag-katag ang release sa budget, so basig matabangan ninyo through our congressmen, first and second, nga ma-priority nga kuan. Di man nato na basta-basta mabalhin pag-release sa GAA. Kaya naman specific location. So kami, dependent mi sa release sa budget.
Okay, thank you, Engineer. Okay, Councilor Enrico Salcedo.
Ako manggod di ba kinsa man day mag-recommend dito sa kuan national, di ba kamo?
Yes, nag-request pero subject man silang approval during sa dito sa paglabi sa budgeting.
Kay nga na manggod mas kamo man nasayod kung asa rapit ang priority. Dili man ang congressman. Dili man ang mga mayor o kinsa pa. Kung dili kamo man ang recommend kung unsay priority.
Yes, amo nang ikuan basta to say pag-release sa budget ang nahitabo inana. In fact, in 2019 wala gali tay release in CDO second.
For example, nag-mention ka nga ang 35 million adto pang 2018.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Enrico Salcedo. Well, someone to ask. Okay, lastly, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Last na lang, sir, ha? Lastly, Council Majority Floor Leader Ayan Mark Kiblat na
Thank
kayo.
you, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Ako nagtuogi ko nga primero ako kasabot sa explanation. Hindi ko engineer good. So kulang kay akong akong gustong ta kanang isuro kita dito. Itugid ba kana bang hands-on ba kana bang sakay tag ban muni atong sa Sapang Creek muni atong asa dapat atong ongoing nga mga projects. So I would suggest nga the members of the City Council who are interested will be given a chance to go around and be shown of these ongoing projects of the DPWH para doon na kami personal knowledge yun. Kaya kini nga problema kung di nato ni tinudon na lang pirmi di taga sabot na bugado mo ko di mo ko engineer okay ra si Councilor Salcido kay mura na siya engineer. Pero kami di kami kasabot. Second, I agree with Councilor Rodriguez that we should create a committee, but I think it should not be a committee. We have a CORDA before, the Cagayan de Oro River Development Authority. We can create another CORDA or another authority or commission, an ad hoc commission, that means a temporary commission that would monitor the development of these two flood-prone areas, Koswagan and Lapasan. Kanara gyud, bantayan na to. Kani nga commission will tutok dani nga issue. Nakisa may mga members. The members will be appointed by the mayor. We will pass an ordinance resolution creating this commission or authority. The members shall be i-appoint ni mayor kung siya ang chairman doon na siya representative.
Councilor, what about the hapsa isa pa?
Magbigura siya dito. And then this commission members ang DPWH. Members na to ang atong city engineer's office. Ngano man nakita ko Mr. Chairman nga walay coordination gini. Walay coordination ang atong city engineering ug ang atong DPWH. Sila gabuhat silang hugalingon pero ang kita din sa city, ang atong city engineer's office is just a receiving end. They will decide what to do. Kita gaka-inform kung mo-fit ba sa atong kinahanglan. Dili gini masulbad kung we will not create that. Now, kanang ilang gihimo karon di pagapuro sigurado nga makasulbad sa flooding. And remember that the issues accompanying the construction of these flood control projects are obligations of the city. Nangano man nga di man kita mo participate og eksakto. For example, kining mga road kining mga right of way, kining right of way kung sa kanang uban diha. Nakita man ko na ko engineer nga sa pag-construct nining atong dike. Kining atong dike sa Sindong Dike, kining nasa Cagayan River. Pas-pas ang trabaho. Because there is a well-coordinated. Naatanan diha. Kami sa Urban Poor Committee. We are well informed. Ready namin sa relocation site for 500 kabok na nangigo. Dana nga, kapulungan mo anak, inyong gabon nga project. But this is a well-coordinated. We have the Japanese, the JICA ang naghatag sa kwarta na ilang mga konsultant. Pas-pas ang trabaho. Kay nitutok man. Puro kanil paturapak naman na dia. Makakuha gamay kwarta, ibutang dia, pasagdan. Sige na siyang baha. No, hapit na lang na human ang dike. Ang kana nga problema, mo pa sila kasugod, pagsulbad. So, I think we should have a commission, an ad hoc commission that will be dissolved once the problem is finished. Pero as long as the problem is there, the commission will remain functional. And the membership, we will determine that during our deliberation in the creation of that commission. Basta ang vice chairman or ang co-chairman should be the DPWH. Kita. And the
DPWH, region.
Work together.
Region.
Region, district, chief engineer. We will coordinate. Para nga, focus ta. Di ta mundang. Kung magkilatag maglabi tas Manila para na ng mga budgeting. Or mao sa atong, or ma-synchronize ang atong lihok. Di ni mahuman kung di ta magtinuray pagtrabaho. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Councilor Ayan Mark Kiblad Nakaya.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you as well to our research persons for sharing their expertise and informing the council as regards the development of the projects that they have implemented and will soon to implement. May I ask Engineer Calyao? Thank you, Engineer. You have mentioned several ifs in your presentation. If only that there is funding, if only there is a way to clear the area, if only there is a possibility to implement whatever budget that you have, and it will, of course, help the city in its proper orderly passage of water. And I understand, as you have also revealed, that the city government, the Kapsay Sapa, and the engineering department of Cagayan de Oro have been closely coordinating with your office in your implementation of your several projects. May I ask, as part of your, as the head of the planning department of DPWH, is funding for acquisition of land is also included in the project proposal?
At the very onset, the right-of-way problem, or right-of-way funds, the required right-of-way acquisition funds for flood control projects are not part of the menu in the DPWH infra program. However, we have another options is that whenever we have an ongoing projects and then we have a right-of-way problem, we can request another set of budget na siya by project na. We can.
So there is funding.
There is a possibility. Yes,
for that intended purpose.
Pero og mayon ka nga direkta anak siya nga flood control category. No, sir.
Okay. And of course, you do phase implementation. In other words, there's phase 1, phase 2, and not the total project cost implementation in just one implementing activity. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. No. The development of the drainage is that it has to start from the estuary towards the hillside. So mag-start kita sa Bukana or sa pinaka-dagat. Ang construction is progressing towards the hillside. That's the ideal.
For example, as part of the entire development plan, you plan, of course, the entire development of the drainage system in for example, in Sapang Creek. You already have your beginning and the ending, and you supplement the entire project cost with this right-of-way fund that you have mentioned with another budget allocation.
Yes,
or a separate account.
Yes, sir.
But my question now is, while they are separated from the accounts of your own department's budget, are they in a way synchronized ba?
Yes, sir.
Naagad.
In the same year.
Okay. So how do you implement in, as you have mentioned, you don't have the capacity to clear. And I do not know if you have the capacity to negotiate and do the implementation immediately, because you have mentioned earlier, after payment of 50%, still they're returning to their respective situation, and they don't transfer.
Those are one of our sad experiences, Your Honor.
Okay. So, namoy coordination sa city, ana, or
Yes,
kamukamo lang?
Yes, we cannot even move without the help of the city. The right of way acquisition is in the process of, we are going to identify the project affected persons, the structures, and then when we able to assess and then evaluate the cost, we will forward it to central office and then they will release.
Okay. How soon is the budget being released by the central office? If, for example, you are already through with the processes of papers and documentation and up to payment.
As how soon, that I cannot answer, Your Honor, because
In your experience, engineer,
medyo
dugay,
a year after.
pila ka bulan,
Kung bulan pag-endorse, pag-submit na mo.
bayad na dayon, Ritso?
No, Your Honor. Kay dagan pa man ang sikot-sikot ko na.
So diya ang usa sa dugay.
Oh, yeah. Your
Because before you implement your infra project, you have to clear first the area, right?
supposed to be, Your Honor. But on flood control projects, Your Honor, we do not have that luxury to do it prior to the actual implementation, because the MINO for flood control do not have, we cannot provide a right of way bigger than what we did, because on the premise nga, sir, na the creeks are already cleared.
Okay.
So, mangayo lang mi siya on another account to pay those right of way claims.
Do you have the same policy as the city of Cagayan de Oro, that those affected with local infrastructure project will be transferred to our relocation site? Do you
Yes.
have that as a matter of policy?
Yes, sir.
And
We always coordinate with Jude and
no. I'm just comparing. Kay kamura may negotiate, kamura may gabayad. So
We base it on
unsa may
the
unsa may
right-
kahitabo.
We base it on the right of way manual we have in the DPWs and the.
You provide relocation site?
No, Your Honor.
So
We only pay the affected area, and then the buildings, the structures, the plans, we pay that.
And then what happens?
We coordinate the LGU for the affected persons to be transferred to the relocation site. It is the LGU that will help us.
na nag-relocate sa city?
Yes, Your Honor, naman sa biyang na may ilang relocation site.
Okay. Anyway, last question, set of questions, Mr. Chairman. 2 city councils ago, where I was not a member and majority of the members of the city council here now are not members also, Mr. Chairman, of that council. I've read one article, news article, that DPWH apologized to the city government on the basis of the query of the city council then, that it was not a good plan to construct a hump along CM Recto near USTP. I could still recall in that article that DPWH apologized for reason that instead of helping and providing an ease of traffic, yes, there was and there's still an easier passage along highways on that hump. But those affected adjacent to these humps were hampered by their daily activities. For example, banks and other business establishments along that area closing on the basis of no customers because they could no longer park anymore. I've read that one, and I still can recall. But yet, Mr. Chairman, after that, there is now 2 or 3. What do you call that? A highway that you mounted along these roads so that motorists will not be affected by water flowing, pouring, and accumulated in the area. But how can that be a good plan nga ang naapektuhan inon, Mr. Chairman, ang kaning mga negosyo o mga residente nga nasa kilid? Okay lang sa kanang kauswagan after the bridge. Kay wala pa may nagpuyo. Pero kaning duha ka buk nga na-implement na dinhi sa CM Recto ang Lapasan. Makita nimo sarado na engineer ang uban ng mga tindahan. Napay kamulo ninyo nga project din ha. Ang problema na duha ka sityo din na nga dalan. Saon ka na nila pagsulod sa ilang sityo after mahuman na siya. Wa para ba na kuan sa going to Bugo, wala pa ninyo gitrabaho. Pero nakalabay ko going to Bugo. Dila gyud, saon ka to pagsulod sa ilang kaugalingon sityo. May I ask the rationally engineer, how can that be a solution to the problem as regards rainwater o baha sa kanang area? How do you balance your act of infra, SAR, and recognizing the economic activity of a certain area? Maybe that's my question.
Okay, Your Honor. In every undertakings that we made, we always have that feasibility study because the department is very sincere that funding will only come to projects that have a feasibility study. All our major projects have FS, and especially the drainage system. We have already an FS, and then all the sections that were divided into packages were based on the scientific study.
Scientific study?
Based from the, in fact, it was...
in all sincerity, do you really believe sa kana nga scientific study?
Yes, sir, because we made
such
simulation.
planning, nga dili na to makita ang kanang mga gapuyo dina sa daplin sa inyong tukod nga hump highway. Nga dili na to mabati kung unsa ilang gibati. Mga a month ago, I was asked by one of our leaders in Barangay Lapasan who is doing well in her business. Dako sa diyang negosyo, nasa highway sa Lapasan. Imagine, di na niya mapa-eskwela yung pagumangkon. Nangangi og scholarship. The other one, nangayog employment. Dagko nga ang mga negosyante ni. Kay dili na, kay tungod lagi wala na gas pamalit sa ilang mga outlet. Nga na din ha. I do not know if you have the real answer.
Are you referring to the ongoing projects, Your Honor?
Yes.
Which
The old
one?
and the ongoing projects.
What particular section, Your Honor?
Lapasan.
In Kitkay area, sir.
CM Recto.
In Clara.
So may tawag dito na ninyo para synchronize ta. Ang ako ana is Boulder of Humps. So may tawag ninyo ana. Nga project.
Is a flyover, Your Honor.
Flyover?
Yes.
Wala man sila nag-fly. Hubo man.
You are referring to the one in the crossing sa Likuan, Your Honor?
No. Dini dapit.
Di Colambog.
Colambog.
Yeah, we will provide a service road for the sides, Your Honor. There is a
Each and every establishment?
It's,
Kay kung ma-elevate na siya, unsa ba ang rise sa elevation na center? 2 meters?
na may,
Unsa man niya pag naog diya sa iyang establishment or balay?
on the sides, Your Honor. There is service roads on the sides.
Gikan ni sa inyong consultant nga plano, di mo pwede matig-away para sa Cagayanon. Kang consultant di man na taga dinhi.
Let me answer,
Oh.
Kagawad. If you're referring to Kulambog, which is ongoing now,
Oh.
the master plan of that is we will provide service road like aning Marcos Bridge nga naada sa Consolacion na road sa kilid, matag kilid niya na.
Simutuhon gyapon ninyo.
Yes. The only thing na medyo nakalangan da is the removal of mga electric o kaning telephone post. So, na ongoing nga drainage system. We are working on the right side going to Bugo. After that, the service road will follow.
Sige, tanawon ta na. I-actual na to. Katong proposal ni Councilor Cabanlas nga mag-actual ta, tanawon na to. Kay kung magsulti mo service road, murag parking area man na nila.
Yes, before implementation, it was presented to the barangay together with the affected persons on site. Sa na mga adjustment nga gibuhat sa during implementation.
Schedule ta, Mr. Chairman, kay unbelievable pa man ni sa ako karon. Kay grabe gyud. Dayon ang inyong delay sa implementation, grabe sad gyud.
Well, we acknowledge that, but we have reasons why.
Unfortunately, it's not justifiable sa mga tao nga affected. We are, as a council of representative, we have to amplify their voice and their sentiments. And to me, I will not let this pass because these affected people have been, of course, in conflict with the situation of pandemic and more so with their respective businesses and their access to highways. So that is why I'm raising this as a matter of issue and concern
Yes,
before
sir.
you in the DPWH. I hope you also recognize that
We
that
recognize
is really a problem.
Yes, Your Honor.
Kung ang isgutanan lang din sa uban nga highway, baha na dinhi ang ila inadlaw-adlaw. Walay baha, init o baha. Wa na sila access. Maybe Mr. Chairman, we will task the Committee on Engineering to schedule a joint ocular inspection by and between the DPWH, the first and the second district on separate schedules. And we will check the entire development plan of this of DPWH. Will you allow us to join you?
Of course, Your Honor. By the way, Your Honor, our development plan are always synchronized with the city development planning because all our projects are endorsed by the city before it will reach to the NIDA. It is a requirement. Therefore, they really are knowledgeable of our development plan in the city.
Problema na kung
In as much as coordination is concerned, yes. In fact, in every barangay, before we proceed, we are conducting what we call the PCM, Public Consultation Meeting. So all local entities down to the barangay will inform on all our projects that we are going to construct. Maybe somehow on the implementation period, there are some lapses. That's why you said that a while ago that dugay kaya nga mong mahuman. Yes, there are really circumstances beyond our control that during implementations we will not able to see that. For example, those utilities that we were not able to consider, or the removal of the post would take a year. That we did not able to consider that. So the implementations drag a little bit longer than what we imagined. But please be assured that we are doing our best to be able to complete it.
For your information, daghan na niradong stallholder sa Agura Market. Tungod sa inyong gi-construct din ha.
Drainage, sir, Your Honor.
Tinood lang, may abot na sa akong committee.
We really sorry, and then we are really asking for the patience and understanding of this committee, of this body, that to please understand us also. That's why at the very beginning of my presentations, I was really on the premise that we cannot do this without your help or without the help of the LGU. It is always in partnership with the LGU. We can never do this.
Gamitan
by
lami
our-
para mas dali.
Of course,
Huh?
Your Honor. We are thankful that we will be invited.
If you want to carry out your unsay tawag ninyo ana sa right of way nga implementation, city council lang ipa-negotiate para human diretso.
We will consider that, Your Honor.
You download your fund, then let's implement.
As to the
Para madali.
downloading of the right of way funds towards the LGU,
Kaya kung nakay total
not really.
cost sa right of way, imo nang gi-download, di na kasige hangyo o para sa 5 ka tawo, hangyo, para sa 10 ka tawo, hangyo.
That's one of the
Really
options
for
or strategy that the JICA is doing. We will present that in the MANCOM in the central office if we can apply that to the locally funded projects. Your Honor.
Para dili fish meal,
Because
diretso.
that approach is
Diretso.
approved on the foreign funded projects. Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe
Okay,
on other
thank
matters,
you,
we
Majority
can
Floor Leader.
transfer it to the Committee on the Engineering for
Okay, thank you,
appropriate
Majority
action.
Floor Leader. Ayan, Mark
Thank
Kaya. Well, in the bottom
Thank you,
line,
Engineer.
Thank you, sir.
The bottom line of it is the total budget for the drainage system. Since when we observe the funded project or the cost of the entirety, well, I think we are in 20% or 10%.
20 to 30%.
20%.
Yes, 20 to 30%.
20
We
to
are still on
30%
that.
since the total budget from District 2
Yes,
is
Your Honor.
3 billion.
Yes, sir.
Then the project implemented is just
800 million.
Oh, there is. 700. And the other one is
2.4.
District 1 is 2.4.
Four.
And then
The
the
same-
implemented funded amount is just 700 million. So I think due to financial or budget constraint, that is why it hampers the said project. So maybe we are hoping that maybe by next year around, mas mayo mahuman na.
Your Honor, if you may, the very reason why we were not able to push so much pressure on the requisition of the funding is that daghan pa mi og years nga na backlog ba. So dili ni mi ganamo ka kahuman. So ang among personality in the central office to allocate is not really that strong as kung human ang tanama ang mga previous years. And the very reason of this, the really problems in the implementation. Had we able to complete it on time, maybe we have some personality or we can pressure them to release. But then, because of the experiences that we have in the planning in the last year and this year, Regional Director Zenaida Titan immediately made some pressure on the secretary and then to under Secretary Isi Cabral for the 1 billion, at least man lang 1 billion for the 2021.
Okay.
And there was already an assurance. I hope it will be carried.
Okay, we are hoping. But
Thank you.
In addition, Engineer, there are also a problem from the road right of way and so as to the informal settlers. In addition for the said project that it hampers for the completion of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, from the DPWH regional offices, we are from the 19th City Council. We are very thankful and privileged for your hour this afternoon. From District 1 Engineering Office, Engineer Calyao from the region, and so as District 1 Office,
Engineer Batukail, Virgin District Engineer Batukail.
and Engineer Marundan.
No. District Engineer Gabriel Ginitaran.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
one Marundan retired already.
Already retired.
Yes, sir.
So, a new engineer. So, in behalf of the 19th City Council, we are very thankful for your cooperation this afternoon. And so as your, including the DPWH staff at the back, ayong hapon, salamat kayo sa inyong gihatag nga higayon. Maybe we will request for our documentation. We can have our all of us.
For posterity, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
may we request our resource persons to join us for a pictorial. Thank you. We would like to express our thanks and gratitude to our resource persons, the engineers of regional office, Engineer Sebinianos Caliao Jr., Engineer Leonard L. Picore, and we also have Engineer Virginia Batucael, Engineer Anastasio Marundan. So thank you very much for your presence and for speaking to the City Council. So I move, Mr. Chairman, to lift the suspension of the rules.
Suspension lifted. Carry on majority floor.
We now proceed to the agenda proper.
The orders of the day, majority floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One is proposed ordinance number 2020-138, authorizing the Honorable City Mayor Oscares Moreno to enter into and sign the Memorandum of Agreement MOA with the Archdiocese of Cagayan de Oro through its social action team, Archdiocese through SAC, represented by the Archbishop of the Metropolitan Cathedral of Cagayan de Oro, Most Reverend Antonio J. Ledesma, SJ.DD. B is the Social Housing Finance Corporation, represented by its president, Attorney Arnulfo Ricardo B. Saan siya? CA lang. And Dr. Billy Tusalim. And the Mergeville, Bermundo Village, Blessedville, Virgin del Rosario, Highlandville, Medalla Milagrosa 1, and Medalla Milagrosa 2, HOAS, represented by the Representative Presidents James Igo Ugan, Romel Villafuerte, Victor Rapirap, Derby Pakudan, Norma Adiser, Alma Tungao, and Allen Rivera, covering the collaboration of the parties to provide the needed assistance to the beneficiaries of the relocation sites who are victims of Typhoon Sendong located in Barangay Indahag, Kanituan, Lumbia, and Balubal, all of the city, under the terms and conditions stipulated therein. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor. Any second? Seconded. Objection? Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-138 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality. Second. Any second? Seconded.
2 is proposed ordinance number 2020-139, authorizing the Honorable City Mayor Oscar S. Moreno to enter into and sign the memorandum of agreement MOA with the Archdiocese of Cagayan de Oro through its social action team, represented by the Archbishop of the Metropolitan Cathedral of Cagayan de Oro, Most Reverend Antonio J. Ledesma, SJDD, the Social Housing Finance Corporation, represented by its President, Attorney Arnolfo Ricardo B. Cabling. Cabling din siya. Okay. Only up to that family name, Cabling. C, may I also, at the later part, maybe for correction earlier. C, the Granville and Consolacion neighborhood, represented by the respective presidents, Filiner Salcedo and Maricho Siran, covering the collaboration of the parties to provide the needed assistance to the beneficiaries of the relocation sites who are victims of Typhoon Sindong located in Barangays Lumbia and Kamaman and both the city under the terms and conditions stipulated therein. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman, subject to correction.
Properly moved by the majority floor. Any second? Seconded.
As corrected.
Subject for as corrected. Objection? Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-139 is hereby approved.
Same goes as, may I manifest, same goes as item 1, Mr. Chairman, as regards the family name. Move to dispense second final reading.
Which finality? Any second? Seconded.
3 is proposed ordinance number 2020-140, authorizing the Honorable City Mayor Oscar S. Moreno to enter into and sign the deed of donation and acceptance with the Caritas Filipinas Foundation Incorporated as donor, represented by the Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Cagayan de Oro, Most Reverend Antonio J. Ledesma, SJDD, covering the donation of the Caritas Village Housing Project, a resettlement project for the informal settler families affected by Typhoon Sindong located in Barangay Indahag, the city, under the terms and conditions stipulated therein. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Move with the majority floor. Seconded. Objection? Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-140 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense. Seconded.
4 is proposed ordinance number 2020-141, authorizing the Honorable City Mayor Oscar S. Moreno to enter into and sign the deed of donation and acceptance with the Archdiocese of Cagayan de Oro as donor, represented by Most Reverend Antonio J. Ledesma, SJDD, covering the donation of the Emmanuel Homes, formerly known as the Tabang Cagayan Village, a resettlement project for the informal settler families affected by the Typhoon Sindong located in Barangay Lumbia, the city, under the terms and conditions stipulated therein. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Move. Seconded. Objection. Objection? None. Ordinance number 2020-141 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense. Seconded.
5 is proposed ordinance number 2020-142, approving the development permit of Gold Residences subdivision project located in Barangay Lumbia, the city, with an area of 22,565 square meters, more or less, containing 105 lots, units, economic housing project as applied for by the Liberty Land Corporation, represented by its Vice President for Operation, Noel A. Tan, subject to the conditions imposed by the City Engineering Office and City Housing and Urban Development Department. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor. Seconded. Objection? Objection? None. Ordinance number 2020-142 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense. Seconded.
6 is proposed ordinance number 2020-143, authorizing the city accountant to charge the sum of 115,500 pesos from the item maintenance and other operating expenses, other maintenance and operating expenses, sports and cultural development in the 2020 annual budget of the Office of the Sangguniang Panglungsod, Cagayan, Kagawad, SK President Honorable John Michael L. Seno, the city to cover payment of expenses incurred during the activity of the SK Sports Fest held last December 4, 2019. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved. Seconded. Objection? Councilor Jagabaday? Are you objecting or the said ordinance? You're raising your hand. Huh? I just want to clarify something between you and Councilor John Michael Seno and Councilor Jagabaday. And you have got?
Naman sila tinogan. So,
that is why.
Sakop na sila.
Also, there is no nonsense at all for one.
Yeah, I'm tired, Mr. Chairman.
You are tired. You are just exercising. I thought, Councilor John Michael Seno, I thought Councilor Jagabada is objecting for your proposal. Well, anyway, I would like to congratulate John Michael Seno for the christening of her. Saan yung pag-umangkon? Niece.
Apo na nako.
So there is no objection after all. Councilor Godjar, there is no objection after all. Just exercising. So there is a pending proposal, properly moved and seconded. Since there is no objection, ordinance number 2020-143 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense. Seconded.
7 is proposed ordinance number 2020-144 appropriating the sum of 77,447 pesos and 60 centavos from the item non-office general public services, personal services, terminal leave benefits, monetization of earned leaves earmarked for Mr. Pruni L. Bislig, Administrative Aid 6 City Public Services Office in the 2020 annual budget to be made available for the payment of terminal leave pay of the late Miss Letty G. Idmilao, former Administrative Aid 1 of said office, who died last March 13, 2020. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Move. Seconded. Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-144 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense. Seconded.
8 is a proposed ordinance number 2020-145 appropriating the sum of 188,119 pesos and 24 centavos from the item personal services terminal leave benefits earmarked for Ms. Warlina Gamos, NARS 4, in the 2020 annual budget of the J.R. Borja General Hospital, this city, to be made available for the payment of terminal leave pay of the late Mr. Wilchar N. Abrugar, former nursing attendant 1 of said hospital, who died last October 18, 2000. Saan yung adlaw?
Move.
Is this 2019? As corrected, Mr. Chairman, move for its approval.
Properly moved. Any second? Seconded. As
2019.
As corrected. Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-145 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense. Seconded.
9 is proposed ordinance number 2020-146, changing the nomenclature of the vacant position Livestock Inspector 3, item number 25/SG11, Agriculturist 1, SG11, in the Plantilla of the City Veterinary Office in compliance with the Department of Budget and Management, DBM Local Budget Circular number 61 dated March 18, 1996. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved. Seconded. Objection. There is none. Ordinance number 2020-146 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality. Seconded.
10 is proposed resolution number 2020-175, endorsing and or interposing no objection to the application of Converge Information and Communications Technology Solutions Incorporated, Converge ICT, represented by its head planning and engineering network infrastructure, Mr. Edwin C. Mabitazan, for a permit to construct manhole submarine cable laying, landing, including installation, cable trenching, splicing, testing, and commissioning in Barangay Bayabas, the city, subject to the rules and regulations imposed by the city and of other government agencies covering such operation. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved. Seconded. Objection? Objection. None. Resolution number 2020-175 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
For its finality and seconded.
11 is proposed motion number 2020-07 to discuss on the floor proposed ordinance number 2020-147 promoting diversity and equality through affirmative action, prohibiting discrimination, ridicule, vilification, and harassment of persons in the city of Cagayan de Oro on the basis of their age, racial or ethnic origin, religious belief or activity, political inclination or conviction, social class, sex, gender, identity and expression, marital or relationship status, disability, health status, or medical history, language, physical features, and other status, providing penalties therefore, and for other purposes. Move for floor discussion, Mr. Chairman. Author, Councilor Joylene.
For floor discussion at the
Mercedes
same time,
Balaba.
at the same time for a proposal.
Discussion sa una.
Okay. Any second? Seconded. Okay.
May I first introduce some or
Okay, Councilor Joylene Mercedes Balaba. You want to say or add something?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to my colleagues and to the guests here today. Unta dili pa ta kapoy no. It's already 6 o'clock. Pero I'll make this brief. Gamay raman ni siya. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to this august body that this ordinance is finally presented for discussion and deliberation. As the chairperson of the Committee on Social Services, it is a part of my office to see to it that every human person is given their due basic human rights, most especially to the marginalized, the poor, and the deprived. We all know that discrimination is a social illness which harbors hate, cruelty, and pain that to the moral fibers of our society. This is what this ordinance is all about. It may not totally eradicate discrimination, but at least it can diminish its culture. Why this anti-discrimination ordinance? It only implies that discrimination does exist, and sad to say, it does, it happens, and it is in our midst. This ordinance aims to send a message that discrimination is never acceptable. This ordinance aims to create for our children a society that respects the rights of everyone, that each one, despite their physical appearance, sexual orientation or preference, religious beliefs, and race, have as much right to live in this world as everyone else. And that despite our differences and diversity, we can all live harmoniously. Why do we need this ordinance? I would like to ask back, where would the people go when they are discriminated against? Those who are victims need legal protection and legal remedies. But which government office will they go to? This ordinance, patterned after Davao City's ordinance, which was authored by the president himself when he was the vice mayor of the said city, also creates a commission or a mediation board, which is tasked to address issues of discrimination. It will create a venue for those who felt discriminated against to air out their grievances and the venue for offenders to give their side without resorting to court trials, which would be more costly and mentally exhausting than the offense would make. We all know that the government does not wish to criminalize, but we cannot let the offenders go unpunished. And so I humbly ask the indulgence of my colleagues of the 19th City Council to give this ordinance a chance. Let us help in restoring our faith to humanity. Let us help our constituents to enjoy and live life without hate and without discrimination. For we all are part of the society, and we have all the right to live our lives to the fullest. Thank you and God bless.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Joylene Mercedes Balaba. Properly moved.
Before that, Mr. Chairman, could we discuss now?
Okay, and a second.
No, for floor
Seconded.
discussion.
Okay, for discussion.
This is the Committee on Laws and Rules introduce this as for floor discussion, while as the chair, I am not against with the entire proposal. I just would like to be clarified because there is a risk, Mr. Chairman, if, for example, radical words or words that have been used by some fellow Cagayanons as enticement for friends, endearment, might be a cause for a case, administrative at that, under this proposed ordinance, Mr. Chairman. On page 126, Appendix L, Section 3, line 309. Section 3, verbal, non-verbal, ridicule, and vilification. I don't want to read because we already have copy. It's allowed, Mr. Chairman, that we and many organizations conduct and sponsor third sex contest or Miss Gay or tawagan na Mr. Handsome for the tomboy. In this kind of this type of activity, Mr. Chairman, there are always some comments, remarks which are loudly spoken during contestants because they wear bikinis, two-piece or one-piece, and even in other Christmas activity, I have seen one in one of the regional agencies where I was invited also. And just for the fun of it, Mr. Chairman, there are endearments because they are friends. And under this ordinance, ridicule or vilification, making fun or contemptuous imitating or making a mockery, whether in writing or in words or in action, may be used and cited for those who are part of this activity and for those who ridicule and give remarks. What would then be in that type of situation, Mr. Chairman? Again, I am all amenable. I just want to be clarified on this aspect, Mr. Chairman. May we ask the author? Okay.
Yes, a majority floor leader. Regarding this section 3, I think this is a personal offense. Public events like Miss Gay, Miss whatever, Miss in any dili magina malikayan na naamang gini mag di ba kanang nay mo mga dili offensive words. Dili na siya pero kung ang isa na contestant dili man siya na offend kay naamang dito siya man mismo nag siya kaugalingon murag dili siguro pod na siya discrimination, that's only for fun. Pero kung na-offend na siya, if he joining that pageant na making him or her vulnerable or susceptible to that kind of offensive na mga remarks, tapos feeling niya na discriminate siya kay Miss Gay. Unsa man ang Miss Gay, di ba? Mo na gina puro man mga gay ang nadira. So nagin na diha ang kagbayot, sa may sukla, bakla, sa kung sa tingin niya na very personal na offensive na, mo ni siya atong ginasik na mag-create og commission para dito siya moadto. Para dito ang commission mismo na ay mga representatives from other sectors na makamediate sa iyaha. Na dili ta mo gaadto sa korte. Mariprimand na to tong nag-offend, katong offender na dili to maayo imong gibuhat kay naay nasakitan. Ina gani ang sistema. So kining mediation board represented by of course the city mayor as the chairperson, city legal officer na ay mga representative from religious groups, from the IPs, from education, from the business sectors, from PWD, health, from the LGBT. Kulang lang ni siya labor, or bernana siya sa business and labor siguro.
In other words, to a certain extent, is the author saying that it's okay. However, if it has worsened,
it's here, wait, sir. It's here, sir, doing any another analogous acts of ridicule in any time and place which would intimidate or result in loss of self-esteem of the person. So that's kanang personal niya na ano. Kung ma-feel niya nga di na gito maayo, madto siya dito sa mediation board o sa commission para dito niya i-air ang iyang grievances nga dili to maayo iyang gidangatan dito nga event. So the organizer would have the responsibility the next time you do something na dili pud siya ma-ridicule in front of the public.
I understand where Councilor Gurley is coming from, Mr. Chairman, and with this proposal. Okay ra ko ato idugang lang nga maybe certain words na ay during these pageants and events are allowable, but not to degrade the human dignity of a person. But how can we also gauge this dignity for it to be acceptable, Mr. Chairman? But again, I am 100% supportive to this cause, and we just want for the record so that the administrative body that is created under this ordinance will also be clarified as to the boundaries of its intention to uphold the right and privileges of certain individuals, whether sex, gender, background, Mr. Chairman. Okay na ko ato sa imong remark, Councilor Gurley. So it's
Okay.
open for other discussion if there are any
Thank you,
questions.
Councilor Ayan Markiblat Nakaya. Well, after all, it depends upon the aggrieved party. At least the aggrieved party have or has a weapon in terms of his violation or her violation. At least he has the weapon to do so. Anyone to add something? Okay, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Wow. I can just imagine the enthusiasm of the author here to pass this ordinance. But I just would like to comment on some issues. Practically all the violations here, all the prohibited acts here are covered by the revised penal code and other special laws, criminal laws. But anyway, there is a provision also here that if it is already provided under the national law, then the application of the penalty should be that of the national law. The penalties recommended under this ordinance, this proposed ordinance, will only apply to those offenses that are not covered with national law. But as I said, practically, for example, kanang mga sinultihan nga di maayo na manas oral defamation, na nasa slander by deeds, na nasa slight, less serious and serious oral defamation. Pagkaulawan ng tao, that will be you are making him a lesser person when you magpakaulaw ka sa misigataw. That's oral defamation. Kung inunin mo siya nga bungi, nga tinuod siya nga bungi, oral defamation ka po na, di ba? Councilor Swan. So, kung ang imong intention mong pagpakaulaw, then that's oral defamation. O kung libelous. Kung nasa Facebook, that's cybercrime, cyber libel. So, practically all acts of man that is against his person is covered by the revised penal code. And remember that the revised penal code was created since time immemorial. Even during the Spanish times when the Spanish were here. Our revised penal code is based on the Spanish penal code. And the Spanish penal code, just imagine the Spanish penal code was created by the Spanish government long time ago. Even I think even the birth of Christ. So kani nga mga balaod based on human experiences in thousands of years ni gawas din kini mga kudal. Mo kani. So everything, pagpakulaw, discrimination, yes, nanan siya. Now, walay butang nga dautan nga wala makubir sa balaod. I cannot imagine kung naabay dautan nga wala makubir sa balaod. Naagi na halos. Spanish ko, penal code, American, the English, the Romans, panahon ko sa mga Romans, even before the Romans, na siya ng mga balaod. Covered na tanan. Now, niya din sa ordinansa nga nag-ingon nga na commission which is created nga maoy muhir sa mga complaints. Maoy muhir sa complaints. So therefore, this is now an amendment to the barangay reconciliation law. This is also an amendment to the judicial to the judicial arbitration law. May balaod na nagyapon. Na ay kanang PMC, Philippine Mediation Center. May mga halos tanan nanatay mga mediation. In fact, before you can file a case in court, before the court will receive
Barangay
or accept
justice.
a case, it will undergo the barangay clearance, barangay mediation through the Lupon Tagapamayapa. Then it will also undergo the PMC, which is the Philippine Mediation Center. Then the judicial arbitration. The judicial arbitration is conducted by the judge. But here, it is the commission. So therefore, this ordinance is an alteration of that process. Now, if that is an alteration of this process, will this provision in the ordinance be respected by the court? Because under this ordinance, it says that if they cannot reconcile, then the commission, which is headed by the mayor, you can imagine the mayor knows another function of the mayor. If there is no conciliation among the parties in this commission that is being created by this ordinance, this commission can issue a certificate to file action, a CTA. Wow. Under the law, only the barangay captain can issue the CTA, the certificate to file action. So this is now a modification of that law. Now, for example, if the mayor will issue the certificate to file action, will it be respected by the court? Well, the court now will say, no, that is not part of the law. You have to go back to the barangay captain for mediation. So, will it not cause a double process? Mo ka na itong problema. Kaya di man din niyo. Di ba na din ang certificate of election? So, we are creating a commission that is now tasked to process all this. Criminal money. This is a criminal act because this is a violation of the ordinance. So, it is, bisan man gani ang traffic violation punishable under an ordinance is a criminal act. Delikado ka kung na-charge ka sa traffic violation niya, mag-apply ka police clearance or NBI clearance, matatak na dito as a criminal record. So, mukha na akong problema. So, therefore, ako, personally, I will vote for this. Kay, it could be a good try on the part of the city. I may have some reservation, but I can see the intention, the clear intention here of the author, the desire of the author to really help our people to observe fairness, due process, and love one another. Never to discriminate, to embrace each other without thinking about sex.
Love with the same.
The color of the skin, religion, gender, whatever. I will vote for this ordinance, but I am just putting that on record so that someday, if later on, for posterity's sake, someday we will be asked, did you not comment about this? Yes, we did. But because we love the purpose, I will vote for this.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanas. Okay, Councilor Joylene Mercedes Balaba.
Ako dili ko ganahan magtig-argue og abogado kay gamay ra magid akong kahibaluan eh. Pero ako lang ignon kining tanan tanan laws gikan sa national. Mo ganing naata diri sa ordinance, we as the local legislators maghimot tag atong kaugalingon nga balaod nga maoy maka-apply sa ato ang mga constituents. Mao bitaw nang naatay ordinansa, local ordinance kay dili man nato ginasupak ang balaod sa nasyonal, ato lang gina complement. Kay kung naatay discrimination diri, na ako'y problema, asa ko paingon madto ko sa barangay o musulbad sa barangay. Pero ang imong problema, ang barangay chairman or barangay kagawad o barangay official, ang imong kontra, asa magkapaingon? Siyempre, dili na nila i-entertain ang imong reklamo. At to ka sa to isa? Oh, asa man na? Wala ko kabaluasa na siya. Sir, kung ako, sir, ordinaryo nga tao, asa mong kupaingon? Kisa kwantuan dito. Gasto na po na. Bato ko sa korte, pila pa ka, isa ka word nga, imong example, ang bungi, isa ka word nga bungi, pila pa ka tuig, ang tun marisolbar, naignon nimo katong nag-ingon nga bungi, nga mali to imong gisulti. So mo nang naatay kadampan, naatay isa ka commission, nga maoy mag-mediate, nga dili man siya necessarily na i-penalize diretso. Bungi, kung ingon tong isa na, o sige, mahusay lang ba, ma-negotiate, bitaw nga dili tong ayo imong gibuhat. Kung dili nimo ignon nga sorry, o di ka mag-apologize, mo na tong recommend ang city mayor o ang commission na i-file sa korte na defamation or slander or libel, kato iyang ingon. Mo bitaw nang paspasan nato kay kung ato nang iagi sa bureaucracy sa gobyerno, matupa sa barangay, matupa sa mediation board, matupa sa korte, pila pa katuig may resolbar. Ang hatred sa isa ka tao, ang iyang pain, pila pa katuig niya na antuson para lang ma-resolbar nga katong nag-ingon nga bungi siya, mali to imong ginabuhat o mali ito imong giingon. Mo nang kining commission mo na iyahang purpose. Kaya asa man gyud tanan ang padulong kini mga discrimination cases so far in Cagayan de Oro. Asa man gasumbong ang mga nag-discriminate. ang gidiscriminate sa ilahang sakit karon sa kaning COVID, asa man sila paingon dito magyapon sila sa mayor. Ang mayor mismo dayon ang moingon na o naay commission, naay mediation board dito mo adto kay naay mo address inyong problema kay daghan problema ang mayor. Mo nang igo lang siya mayon na dito mo sa mediation board para mo na yung resolve sa inyong problema, sa inyong issues, inyong concerns. Sir.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Jaylin Mercedes Balaba. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to congratulate the author of this ordinance, or crafted this ordinance. It's a very good ordinance and a good try. Because according to Attorney and Councilor Cabanlas, there are some areas that are that encroach the judiciary. But there is always a first try, like for example, the ATA, Anti-Terrorism Act or law. The committee now can issue a warrant of arrest for this first try. Like the commission, it might be the first time, but it might be recognized. So thank you very much. Now, my question is about just two. Appendix L, page 123, letter R and letter S. Definition of sex. Then the sexual orientation.
Sex as in
Sex. Is okay.
Number
Under
six,
the law, wa pa man mausab gisiguro tong balaw do. Duha ra man ang recognized nga sex. Male and female raman. But under letter A, sexual orientation, last paragraph, individuals of a different gender or same gender or more than one gender. Okay, that's one of my concern. No? I want the author to shed light about this. Now, another one is, considering that we are passing a law that involves about behavior and character, in what's this? Member section 1, commission, member of the commission, appendix L, page 130, no? Members of the commission, it should be included if it is not too much for the author. Na siguro expert, sagol sa din, expert about character and behavior of human being. Okay, we're talking about behavior. The psychiatrist or psychologist or an expert, in order to help also the commission to determine the offense, whether it is covered under this provision ordinance, this ordinance, Mr. Chairman. That's my concern. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Roger Abaday. Councilor Lordan Juan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I think this ordinance is really groundbreaking, especially for a city like ours. And I would just like to have a clarification on section 8, page 127, letter B. The issuance of annual diversity training certificate, where every commercial or industrial establishment in our city should implement an annual diversity training or orientation. Personally, maybe we can do away with this because it's going to be very costly for companies. Imagine, I don't really know the number of companies we have here in our city, but if we allocate an entire day, or at the very least, half day of every year for an activity like this, especially when it is not really necessary, then that could have been used more productively. Maybe we could amend this, not to force every commercial establishment to have an orientation every year, but only when it is needed. For example, we could have one of the functions or one of the members of this commission to check each company if they have any problems with discrimination, and only then do we force that that commercial establishment to do this training. Because to me, it really is a lot of a waste of time. For example, if you have a very highly paid executive and he will have to attend a half day of this when he does not have any, or he does not practice discrimination, then that time would have been better used for something else.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Lordan Swan. Okay, Councilor Joylene Mercedes Balaba.
This is defense manager. For the information of Councilor Abaday from our technical working group, na text sa ako aking sex is a definition from the CHR na dictionary. Anyways, okay, ito lang more gender, more than one gender. Regarding this training certificate, siguro mo agree ko nga dili na kinahanglan ang mismo ang commercial establishments ang
As
maghimo
needed,
kay
so.
naa may gender and development office himo og inani klase na gender sensitivity trainings sa tanang opisina, ma-private or ma-public. I think siguro magkuha na lang sila. I don't know kung mo lang siguro ito may magkuha lang sila og certificate from the GAD na nag-undergo sila og training. Dili sila kinahanglan sila pa ang gasto sa ilahang kaugalingon na training. Kay murag naa may gender responsive programs for all employees ang gender and development.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, ako
okay.
lang sa po na klaro. Pero
So,
noted na.
The author is yielding upon the... Okay, make it a proper proposal for amendment, Councilor Lordan Swan. There is an amendment.
I move to amend
Section
8, letter B.
Letter B. As
Uh,
needed, so.
To insert as needed.
As needed.
Or somewhere there where it is
annual-
relevant.
Not annual diversity training every year. Any seconded? So, as amended. There any objection? No? None? Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
As amended. So another, okay, Councilor Saldi Ocon.
I have nothing against with the proposed ordinance proposed by the author, good Councilor Balaba, Mr. Chairman, because I understand that the very purpose of this proposed ordinance, of course, is to respect one another and the people of Cagayan de Oro, especially we are so-called the city of Golden Princess, Mr. Chairman. So I have nothing against with that. And this is also an awareness for all the people of Cagayan de Oro that we should respect one another. Pero naalang ko'y dugang gamay, ma'am, na depende po siguro sa paggamit. Kung ang usa ka bungi, singgitan ako, bungi ka, daghang tao, siguro kung ang gina, insulto. Libelos. Wala mo, di ba, Torre? Oo. Pero kung kamera doha, ya akong inon nga, Brad, nganong nabungi ka? Siguro, dili siguro na libelos, attorney. Ikaduha, wa man siya testigos, kay kamera man doha. Di man po public. Okay, so apil ba na, ma'am? Apil ka po. Kay labi pa karong panahon, ma'am. Wa naman ko kitag bungi. Kay nga wa nay bungi ron. Bisan asa ka maglakaw-lakaw sa kagayan di oro wa nay bungi. Kay nga naman dali na tambalan ang bungi. Kada tuig na ay medical mission. Di ba, Councilor Pibot? O, naanay hospital para sa bungi. Dali na kayo tambalan ng bungi, kay kuhaon ra imong lubot gamay nga panit, isapaw. Di ba? Pero ang di lang yun matambalan, ang libat. Matambalan bang libat? I don't know. Matot pa ni Councilor Bibot, ang libat matambalan na. So, no, I have nothing against with the proposed ordinance. Thank you, Councilor Balaba.
Okay. Councilor John Michael Zeno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May hapon, may gabi sa tanan. In fact,
gabi na.
Gabi, alas 6 na. This proposed ordinance, Mr. Chair, is supported, of course, with the Oro Youth Development Council. In fact, the co-chair of the Oro Development Council is with us today, and of course, the Oro Youth Development Office. As regards to the, alam ko query, Mr. Chair, under page 130, Appendix L, line 506, as mentioned by Attorney Ed Cabanlas kaganina. Kaya nga akong kabalakaan ni Mr. Chair, City Mayor ang mag-lead sa commission. Now, akong kakabalakan is basin ma-overwhelm sa daghan kayo mag-complain. Mahurot na niya una ang oras para mag-hear. Base na atay pwede madugang or let's say for example, co-chaired by the barangay captain in which any violation of this ordinance will be heard. Kaya para nga dili kayo bugat sa city mayor mag-handle. Provided therefore that all other legal officers and representatives are being appointed by the city mayor. So co-chaired lang siya by the barangay captain or let's say or chairman on the committee on social services of the city council. It depends upon the any recommendation by the author of this ordinance, Mr. Chair. Kaya ang akong yung kabalakaan ni basin niya og ma-overwhelm kadaghan mag-complain sa komisyon o giklaro ra ba danhi walay compensation or unsay madawatan ang mga miyembro na mag-hear. So kana lang ako, Mr. Chair.
Well, I think it's the prerogative of the mayor or it is his call to divert it to the other mediation board or to the barangay justice or the barangay captain. It's up to him.
So
If he wants to. Well, after all, ordinance or any kind of ordinances, after all, it depends upon the implementation or the execution of the executive. So, naka sa iya. Okay. Councilor Inday Edna Dahino.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to my colleagues. I strongly support this ordinance, Councilor Gurley. However, I just would like to ask this concern on Appendix L, page 127, Section 8, in facilities, letter F, facilities and support system. My concern here, Mr. Chairman, is as we know, nga ang mga opisina is mga opisina, mga dagkong establishment na anatan na CR sa babae o lalaki lang. However, here it is a requirement to have all gender CR. So what will happen, Mr. Chairman, kung babae lang og lalaki ang CR, nya dili sila maka-provide because the space is limited. So how are we going to address this concern, Mr. Chairman? Kay kanang all private offices, commercial industrial establishments shall designate toilet rooms and laboratories labeled as all gender. So may lag og luag kay space kay mabutangan mahabol man.
Page 127.
127, Appendix L, letter F, Section A.
Letter F. Okay, facilities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Kay kung gamay kaayong opisina, asa man, ma-special lugar siya og asa dapit mabutang. Kay mabutang man ang CR, kay duha lang man. Usually, ang mga offices now is babae lang yun og lalaki. Even sa ato diri wala may gender din eh. I hope nga mabutangan na kay dagko man pod ang space. So what about those established already na mga businesses? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, but the first word is as far as practicable. So it can be applicable or pwede sad wala. As far as practicable. So well, okay, address by amo na to. Okay, the beginning word is that the beginning phrase is as far as practicable. So pwede na, pwede po wala. So okay. Councilor Ruben Daba. We will give the other members a chance. Councilor Roger, okay, after all, you will be the one who will speaking.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to congratulate the proponent. No, nalang ko'y concern sa Appendix L 128 sa 393 kaning Affirmative Act of Education until 406 or elimination of gender stereotype. Kay especially yun, ang first kining kaning elimination of gender stereotype. All school, colleges, university, and other educational and training institution, whether public or private, located in Cagayan de Oro, shall promote the elimination of sex rule stereotyping and gender discriminatory rules, modeling for student in academics and extracurricular activities. Medyo nakuan kay ko ani sa I don't know noon sa oni sa nagpropose ani kay daw biday kanang sa PNP or sa military or kanang ingon ana. So di magyud siguro nimo walay discrimination ha, pero it's hard. Like ako medyo ma-offend sad ko kung ma-offend ka nga kuan, so kung mga ligo ta wala ra ba nay kuan, everything hubo ka tanan diya kay puro man mo lalaki unya. Kung malagot biya ka kung nay mo tan-aw sa imo nga nanay pagnanasa, so mura sagkag di ba mura sagkag uy, so ako kuan naman sad ni sa akong kuan, sa akong unsay ngalan ani, sa akong rights o kanang i-violate man gyapon kana ang akong concern ba. Unya kanang sa mga school sad kining availability of anti-discrimination materials, all school, colleges, university, and other educational training institution. Unya ang ato ra bang like mga high school daghang kay tag mga secular nga kanang church related nga school. So unsa man yung pagkuan ana nga di magyud nila ga ikuan lugar di lugar kuan, pero di man mo man gina ilang naandan lugar sa kun di man lugar nato ikuan ng religion, pero mo man gina ang naandan sa mga katiguangan nga ang lalaki or paraga ni ingon ni Councilor Dahino nga naanad ni kita nga lalaki nga kuan og female and male nga toilet. So kini lang nga mga concern Councilor Balabak akong nakuanan nga dili sad ka na you are defending their right, then you're also violated the other right of katong mga estudyante. Like naraba ko'y nadungog nga dambasa gid na ako sa news nga nag-dress siya og babae na pag-abot dito sa sunod gi-rate niya ang tuay babae dito. So kanang mayon ana ba, so dili nimo makuan gihapon kanang I hope you could make a balance kay you are also defending the right of this individual, pero how about the right of those individual nga to asad dito? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Ruben Daba. Okay, Councilor Joylyn Mercedes Balaba.
kapoy na the size na sir katong rape ingon nimo kay nagsuot siya og kanang pambabae ato siya sulod sa asa ba to nga babae nga CR tas gi-rape niya dili mo na discrimination, that's a criminal intent and a criminal offense. Rape ang yang gihimo dili discrimination.
Maybe rape
So,
or harassment.
dili to wala to labot diri kining elimination of gender stereotyping ingon siya ingon ka councilor Buboy nga kining mga naay mga colleges kini mga army kini mga pulis dili naman ni sila kay gadawat naman ni sila og babae nga pulis babae nga sundalo mo bitaw nang di na to anuhon nga ang pulis para lang ni sa mga babae ay sa lalaki ang army para lang ni sa mga lalaki.
Lagi ang ako manggod Councilor Girly, mudawat na gyapon ang babae karon ang PNP magani pero ang ako ba like ikaw naay gisulod dito nga homo o gay lugar unya pag-abot dito.
Okay.
O kanang ingon
Make it
ana
a proposal for maybe.
ang ako siguro nga kanang
a proper proposal.
I would also propose Councilor Girly nga siguro makuan siguro nimo sa inyong committee nga make us a balance ba nga like for example modawat na magid og lalaki ug babae karon pero daw big katong during like nangaligo ang mga lalaki wala na ba nay kuan diya sa kanang mga kuan lugar ang mga babae sad wala sad nay mga tabon sad niya kung naasay lesbian nga ang pag murag nasay sa pagnanasa sa pagtan-aw sa iyang kauban so katong kauban na felt sad siya og kanang na kuan sa ang iyang right nga murag lain man ni akong kauban nga babae na namin ni pagnanasa og kuan so kana how can you make a kanang balance on that situation Councilor Girly?
Hindi ko mo balance kung naagi kay pagnanasa and you want to kanang ang iyang pagkatao na that's a criminal crime. That's a crime. Kining stereotyping sa letter C, all schools, colleges, universities, and other educational and training institutions shall promote the elimination of sex role stereotyping. Promotion sa eliminate lang. So dili man ni mo bitaw nang dili nato ma-eliminate ang discrimination but at least we can teach our children to grow up in a world, in a society that is free from any discrimination. Asa man ta magsugod dito ta magsugod sa eskwelahan kay dito man ilang mga formative years. So we have to inculcate in our children that it may not be totally it will not make you a criminal to discriminate, but it is not acceptable. Mo bitaw nang i-promote nato ang elimination of sex stereotyping kay kita mga mga tigulang ikapoy na si Vice. Kita mga tigulang. Mo nato babae, lalaki. Di na taano kay karong mga kabatan-unan lahi na ilahang pananaw kay we are evolving ba, naga-evolve ta. Tapos dili ta pwede mo stack up na babae, lalaki. Panahon sa Spanish, mura na babae ra og lalaki ra. Dili na kay daan na karon na anay mga LGBT unsaon na nang nato ni. Mo bitaw ning naani para we can live harmoniously.
Okay, thank you Councilor Joylyn Mercedes Balaba. Okay, Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez. Thank you for your birthday present.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councilor Balaba. No, this is a very good ordinance. No, gwapo gyud kayo. Ba, ang ako lang question because para probably you can check this with the legal office kay ang mahitabo manggod like the barangay ang tanan nga mga reklamo magagis barangay then from barangay immediate sa kapitan to Dilupon kung di yun masettle is certification to file action muna dawaton didto sa husgado. Ang akong point is kung naardinhe na sila ilang own what do you call this commission And then what happens if there is a case by then na dili ma-mediate? Who's going to issue the certificate to file action? Mauna ang akong, is the same way with Councilor Cabanlas, kay mao man ginay dawaton dito sa ato, sa ato dito sa husgado. So hopefully Councilor Gurley, you can check on this kay ang proseso man sa balaod para madali ta. Oo, ang proseso. Oo. Ang legality manggod ug asa kinsay mo issue sa file, certificate to file action kay ang certificate to file action dito man sa barangay, sa kapitan. Then after that, i-honor dayon sa husgado. Pero kung dinhi, kinsa may mo issue para ma-honor ang iyang case ngadto sa husgado. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Well, I think this could be for petty crimes or for a simple discrimination. It's because, as I observed, for the penalties, there are exceptions for the national laws above mentioned, except for the violation of the national laws, violation of Section 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Article 3. Well, it is pointed out for the revised penal code, I think. So I think this could be for minor defamation remarks, I think. Councilor Jaylin Mercedes Balaba. Okay. Councilor Roger Abaday.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will be my last shout out. I am very conscious, Mr. Chairman, sa letter L, page 124, line 23, no?
124.
Line 23. L, appendix L, 124. Now, I want that, this is a good ordinance, and I want that the passage of this ordinance, once it is passed, there is no more room for interpretation. Efficient and effective implementation of this ordinance. Now, line 23, individuals of different gender or the same gender, okay lang, may problema. But, or more than one gender, that is very inconsistent with the chairman kay, unless the author wanted to recognize or legalize the transgender.
Line, page
203. 203. 203, appendix L, page 124. There one more than one gender. Now, the revised penal code, the civil code, and the family code only mention male and female. There's no such thing as other sex. So I suggest, I move, Mr. Chairman, that this should be redefined so that once this is implemented, can no longer be interpreted, Mr. Chairman.
Line
203.
203.
203 of Appendix L 124.
Okay, individuals of different gender.
More than one gender.
Refers to each person's capacity for
The transgender, is this more than one or minus one?
Individuals of a different gender, of the same gender.
That's what I want to emphasize, Mr. Chairman.
The same gender or more than the same gender.
Okay. I guess we have exhaustively discussed already, Mr. Chairman. May we ask the chair to recognize Councilor Gurley Balaba for a proper motion?
Okay, Councilor Jaylin Mercedes Balaba, make it a proper proposal for your proposed ordinance. For approval. Make it a proper motion.
Can I? I move for the approval of ordinance number 2020-147.
Properly moved.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-147.
Okay, properly moved. Properly moved by the proponent, by the author. Okay, any second? Seconded. Objection? Objection? As amended and corrected and deliberated and scrutinized and criticized. Since there is no objection after all, it is hereby approved unanimously. For finality, majority floor. For finality and seconded.
Move to adjourn.
Session adjourned. Magagipang kapoy na ba?